敌军还有30秒到达战场，碾碎他！全军出击！
给你来一下！ 不中，再争一次。
即将破裂。
team double kill. Blue team has scored an ace.
Poppy comes through, stops the Wukong dash. I mean, there's how many dashes? 4 dashes. Victor is a top tier mid laner in this meta. And Victor is very good in terms of continued DPS. Has a good laning. I'm kind of surprised that On went towards the Poppy here. I mean, I guess the 4 dash champions are really good. It's really good into the 4 dash champions. Just a little surprised that they didn't go for something a little more lane dominant. Or something... I mean, an Enchanter would have been so good. But I guess with the Braum locked in, you need another pseudo-engaged source, because the Ornn is not going to be consistent at that now. Okay, alright. So, composition's locked in, and we'll... Alright, let's get into it. Oh, Shenzhen has very nice acoustics in this arena. Oh, is that a desynced audio? We shall see if we have to reload the stream for that. Okay, we have to reload the stream real quick, because otherwise it will be desynced audio. That's why we do this first. Will we ever see ADC hero? So if you say ADC hero, it kind of, again, shows you're not a League of Legends player. ADC champion in mid lane. They are champions. Heroes at Dota. Or other things. ADC champion as a mid laner again. Yeah, we see them occasionally already. Tristana is around. Corki's around. Sometimes Lucian as well. Level 1. Braum Q misses. It's a little annoying. Leave using the Q right-click tap. Not hitting that many blind Qs into the brush. LEC played Tristana mid and lost lane to Sion. Yeah, because he was forced to start W level 1 and Sion rolled with that early advantage into Chunk, into Snowball. So Aki went for some early game shenanigans on the Jarvan last game too. He's on the Wukong, walking in early. So they're going to be able to see that the Wukong didn't go for Raptors. Does Shinzao know though fully? He goes forwards, doesn't look for the wall stun, wants to I mean, On is going to get stunned up here. Bit annoying there, didn't get the full value of the passive shield. Ghost pop by Elk is running that. Not going towards the cleanse. I guess the Ghost is more important versus Wukong Sion later into the game, so you can't cleanse anything versus them. Does get a little bit annoying because Braum has some kill pressure onto you. Jump forward from leave, gets that pierce through. Buckler shield picked up. Wukong's coming down. I mean, BLG aren't playing with the minimap. They don't know what's happening in the jungle. They get a decent trade here, but it's going to be at least one kill. On's going to die. They'll give it over to the Zeri. So Leaf picks up the first blood. BLG bamboozled by the play from Wukong. The jungle tracking, not good enough from BLG. Elk and On have often been susceptible to early 3v2s. And won't go down very easily there, actually. Maybe he thought he had cleanse against Ignite from Braum. Well, Braum doesn't have Ignite, so... Okay, so Cull first blood towards his leave Zeri. That's nice as heck. Zeri definitely one of those champions which can shred frontline later. Quite hard to get on top of as Zeri as the Shinzao as well, and a bunch of quite different points in the game. Bin is hard winning the matchup early on versus the Sion. That shouldn't happen, by the way. No, Sion is meant to win the early lane versus the Ornn. So that's a bit of a problem there for NIP. And Bin's happy being in a 1v2 if he wants to be as well on one side of the map. Is going towards that 1v1, but he's doing completely fine. Gonna be also getting bullied out in lane, but it's not led to a CS advantage. Akali will often just take a load of damage, but still, with Doran Shield and Second Wind, what have you, be able to survive through to your first back of the game, and then you can actually start hard trading back a little bit. Hello, Harold. How is your cheese? Leave, farming out as best he can. 10 CS ahead. So, I mean, Elk had a very good game last game. However, we do know that Elk is a very streaky player. Can be very on and off, just like On as well. See if he can match up to Leave in this game now, because he's a bit behind. Great trade from Bin there again. Bin's doing really well in the 1v1. Surprised that Solo Kill's not been able to get harder trades onto the On. Hey, dude. Okay, so, welcome in Sam, everyone.
Oh, pleasure.
I'll give you the headphones as well, so you can even hear gameplay. Oh, we have all the works here in terms of production.
I heard game one was a bit of a banger.
Yeah, it was. You know, 1 kill a minute, crazy stuff. Elk had a 14 kill Jhin game. Knight somehow only died once in the entire game. Had a massive Medjais. And yeah, all in from bot side. Bin winning the early lane.
Solo Kill now in danger to win, becomes lightning into the audacious charge, and Solo Kill is not quite Solo Kill because there are in fact 2 people.
Yeah, saved by the fact that someone else came into his lane. However, only reason this happens, Bin is slaughtering the 1v1. Sion should be winning the early matchup, but Bin has been very, very good using the Brittle procs, and now suddenly, you know, Sion dies in lane as well. We'll lose some CS. You can actually see that Solo Kill with level 6 is... What the heck is Solo Kill doing, actually? He was heading towards bot lane. Now he's not. I guess the recall's coming in from the bot lane. Initially he thought, oh, I'll go bot lane. Now moves towards top lane instead. Has the ultimate to reach a lane if he wants.
So, I suppose at this point to see exactly how NIP look to try and respond. They might try and take out this dragon. Of course, Solo Kill has been a pretty good addition to NIP on the whole. They've looked a lot more alive with him in the roster, but again, it's not exactly the best look for the new blood to the top lane for NIP, as Ben has, as you mentioned, manhandled a matchup that should have been a little bit more Sion favoured, we imagine.
Sion should not be winning the 1v1 until later. That is not true from what we've seen in Pro. Sion has been the most lane-dominant top laner of the recent era, and Ornn has struggled in Pro every time this matchup has come through. Ornn does lose the early levels. That's what we've seen in almost every matchup of this. This is player diff, really. Been doing really well in that early matchup.
There we go. Leave, stepping on forwards, looks to Spark Surge and get a decent chunk. Not too much more. Of course, Leave on that Zeri has done some pretty crazy things with that champion over the years.
And the fact that Ornn has got the early gold is a problem, because sometimes Ornn can fall out of a game because he never gets gold to begin with and then can't survive. The fact that he's now ahead of the game is a big problem. And I do see some stuff in chat saying, hey, you know, Ornn is anti-tank. Yes, he is, but Sion gets so much good wave control early on compared to Ornn that you can often force Ornn into choosing to make a choice between hitting you and hitting the wave, where Sion can really do both. Good shockwave into mid lane to force Doomby away from the next wave. But yeah, the early levels of the game, Sion has so much better wave control. Very good ability to trade through the wave in a way that Ornn can sometimes struggle in the early lane. It's only really later when you get towards team fights where the Ornn can sometimes have better engage options because he doesn't have to throw his body into the fray as much.
Yeah, that ult is pretty damn nasty from the Ornn, absolutely. Of course, still a lot of very strong combos on the champion, and again, down a little bit of CS never hurt that much on the tanks. Of course, this then becomes a frontline diff later on. That can be a bit more problematic, but for now, we've got a bit of a scuffle over these grubs. See what that turns into. Solo kill. Hanging around here is Beishuan and Elk will look to come down the river.
Doomby's not going to be here because he doesn't have teleport. Knight is sticking around the area, so it's going to be Akali getting bot lane farm, getting a wave there. NIP taking one grub, giving the two over to BLG.
Doomby will take that one and then absolutely use it to claim a couple plates on that bot side. Doomby might end up face checking Knight there, who throws down the ball and gets command dissonance. Knight won't have those skills up and available for a second or two longer. And the Shuriken flip. Knight now might be in danger. Doesn't have the shockwave. Can look for the all-in here. Flash. R2 available. Doesn't have the opportunity because On was coming down the lane. Ends up burning the flash for that as well. Doomby a little bit frustrated because it felt like he had a kill threat there.
The fact that you misuse that, don't have that tool available now, could be an issue. Knight not on the map either though for the next while, so NIP can take an even-numbered fight around the blue buff. Maybe even an outnumber, actually. Doomby's still over here as well. Jumps forwards. It's going to be the blue buff secure by Aki. Nothing more than that. NIP, last game was a decent early game for them too, it's worth noting. I think that NIP, despite the fact that they're 4-9, despite the fact that things have not been looking great for them, I think this team is starting to pick up a lot more consistency again now. I think that we can see some of that more creative macro, that creative drafting in some cases, creative team fighting. It's kind of sad that you couldn't do that with Shanji, a player who I do like to watch in the LPL, but his form has been up and down.
Yeah.
Some rumors about some fractions. Not fractions. No, it is. I guess it would be. So, yes.
Fractions or fractures?
Fractures, yeah, between some teammates there. Cyclone popped onto On.
Try and jump away with the heroic charge. In comes the Winter's Bite though. Concussive blows beginning to get stacked. Over comes Lee. Force a flash out of On. Doesn't want to go over the wall with his own flash. Flash out from Aki. Someone has traded. I think with the fact that he ended up burning a few ultimates as well. Probably still roughly even.
Knight was going towards top lane anyway, so even though he teleports into the mid lane play, not going to be missing out a wave, really. Maybe misses 1 or 2 minions, but should be happy to walk up to his topside turret and collect all this farm, and indeed he will do. So Knight just good responsive teleport to make sure he was on time, but not losing much for it on the other side. What are our next important things coming up? Dragon in a minute. BLG would like to get that one, to make sure that NIP don't double stack the early objectives.
That'll be the one. As the Winter's Bite comes on through. Too much to be seen there. All the while, the Akali just trading out there with Yorn. It does seem like Doomby, on the whole, does really like the rocket belt on the Akali at the minute. We're not seeing so much Storm Surge or Ludens or any of these other options which Akalis do sometimes like to run. Has gone towards a little bit more mobility, that little bit more outplay potential when you are into things like the Poppy, Kai'Sa, the Shinzo, even the Ornn, right? There's a lot of people with mobility or ways to mess you up if you go in, so an additional way to dash and move feels pretty good on a card.
It does. It also, in some cases as well, is it likely this game? Okay, not likely this game. However, for other games, the best tool in the game for blowing spell shields. If someone has a Banshee's Veil or an Edge of Night, you don't get to dodge Rocket Bell. Like, all of those projectiles going a million miles away, you have an AoE as well. It will always blow a spell shield. It's really important, actually. It's Knight going towards that bot side of the map. I doubt that Knight is going towards a Banshees in this game against a sole AP threat, but hey, just worth noting.
Doomby now looking forwards, lands a Shuriken flip, On's gone the other direction, that means Knight's in danger, will self-shockwave, Rocket Bell, R2 gets the kill, solo for Doomby on the other side, On in danger, but there's the Cyclone, can look to throw down another 5-point strike, that's good value, Beitran with that Crescent Guard, in comes Elk, it's all beginning to turn around as the supports and AD carries all arrive, a double back over now, Leave looking to unleash with a Lightning Crash, massive knock-up from Bin, and it's a triple kill already for Elk, how much further can he go? Solo kill. Such a terrifying front line though, as Leave has managed to stay alive through it all. Leave looking to get continually more autos. The Ultra Shock Laser doesn't quite tag enough. Ends up being a 4 for 3 in favor of NIP.
That is a messy fight. Now, the original play starts with the 1v1 between Doomby and Knight. I think the reason why Knight walks up there is because he knows that BLG are coming with numbers, and even if something goes wrong, he can still kind of bank on his team being first to respond because his Ornn is pushed in top lane. Still think he makes a mistake here with the calculation, the flash. It's quite hard that because you're trying to flash out of the R2. Very hard to do that against the Akali. Doomby, great solo kill to open things up, and it means that the Orianna's not there for shields and for continued DPS. However, you still have overextended onto a side of the map that you're not really free to do so. This is the problem, though, where you have kind of the front to back between the Sion and the Ornn. The Sion with the Qs through the teamfight is absolutely disgusting and buys so much space. Solo kill for me, MVP of this fight for NIP.
It does a huge amount of work, and it gives Leave so much space to keep going, because I think Elk was on the verge there of looking at a penta. It was a massive knock-up from Bin. You began
Hang on, fight over the Dragon. 3v5 right now. Stolen.
He manages to take that one. On the other side, Beitran hit by the Winter's Bite into the Decimating Smash. Still no ultimate. Will go down, and Leave is donated the kill. Another Winter's Bite lands onto Knight. Remember, no flash on the Ori. He still gets to walk away on the other side. Doomby looking for the 1v1 versus Bin.
He can kill here. He can kill.
Absolutely kill here. Looks for the R2. Can keep on hunting for more damage. Where's that last Q? Rocket Bell misses the Shuriken flip. Well, that would have been dead.
Close run stuff. Doomby not able to get enough execute damage, even against the armor stacking low MR. It does have a null magic mantle, but it's still low MR Ornn build for this point in the game. So BLG go towards the dragon, leash it gets stolen, and then they lose the fight anyway. Big mistake from BLG opening up the Braum to get multiple stuns through. And this Zeri is really far ahead. Maybe this game would be a little different if the bot lane of BLG hadn't got ganked as early as they did. I mean, it is still a 3-kill Kai'Sa for Elk, and I guess in Elk we trust now for BLG as the consistent damage source with that gold. But even then, you're against a 2-item Zeri at 15 minutes into the game. Cashed in a cull, 4 kills. Good stuff in laning phase as well. This is going to be a hyper carry AD carry off.
Going to be the angle. Both of them in very scary locations. The cull cashed in, as you noted. Still 1,000 gold lead to Leave, though, and when you're trying to play between those two AD carries, that gold lead can be very significant, particularly in terms of break points for things like Soul Point. I reckon Leave will be at that additional item break point before Elk is. 3.5 minutes until that dragon spawns. Herald is up, though, and BLG have teleported in and look to try and contest around that one. No one has the feats of strength yet, I will note.
Yeah, NIP, well, they're leaving the Akali in the bot side. If they get first turret, that will be that too, because Knight just teleported up here. BLG say, look, bot lane first turret is an acceptable loss. Let's see if we can get ourselves a fight, but here comes the teleport anyway. Knight's just dead.
Good combo. The shockwave means nothing. Finally, for the decent attempt at an ultimate, but the Herald is stolen. Leave still hunting around. Doomby's here. He's come on in and gets a double. Perfect execution, and Bessa, eat your heart out.
BLG's macro has been shocking in the last 5 minutes. The Dragon, where they leashed it, got flanked onto it, that was a problem. At the Herald, you'd think they'd have learned their lesson by then. They still end up, I guess they feel like they could get a play before Doomby could teleport in. Not the case. It's another triple collapse coming in from NIP. They'll get the Herald, they'll get themselves the feats of strength, and get themselves a turret in mid lane, and probably top lane too. NIP have been choosing fights very, very well, and BLG, they're leaving themselves open to them.
They are. Solo kill heads onto the turret. grabs that one as well. Begins to reset. Let's look at the replay because honestly, we thought we weren't going to see this, but the teleport comes flying onto an Aki eviscerates Knight.
When you're on red side, taking the Herald is very, very dangerous, especially as a immobile mage like the Orianna. You can't flash over the wall or dash over the wall like a Zeri would or something like that. You're stuck in that part of the map, and you know, Knight now has himself the Seraphs, but you know, you have a very fed Akali on the other side. Knight has his flash coming back up now, but being so far behind the game, I don't really know how BLG will deal with this. You have a Zeri who's going to cut through your front line like paper, and I don't think Elk can really do that much in these team fights, especially when there's going to be such a fed Akali hunting him down.
Going towards the Zhonya second here for a bit more playmaking. Kind of knows the role here, which is go in and deal with a lot of the anti-Akali tools, and there are a fair number of them. That Zhonya's will really help manage that. It is how Doomby likes to play. He tends to run with quite a lot of utility tools in his Akali kit.
Actually wonder if that's a mistake. I wonder if that's a mistake, because you need to be killing the Kai'Sa, and if you can, I think that's your job done, even if you die for it. Botlane turret being focused down. Beitran looking to, hang on a second, it's a 4-man unit here. Not sure Bin should be doing that, actually. That's dangerous.
Skip out after, Bin down to about 20% HP. NIP don't overforce it, drag it in a minute. They're probably going to want to look to reset with that 50-second marker coming on through.
Bin has the teleport anyway, but even then I was wondering actually if you push it a little further, you're dead and you don't get to teleport in. As we said before, look, Elk has a 3-kill Kai'Sa. However, due to the mistaken early lane where BLG didn't track the jungle pathing, Aki got the early gank off, Leave and PP God got ahead, and God, they've stayed ahead at this point. We are nearly to an Infinity Edge third item for Leave, and it's not even 20 minutes in. This is a ridiculously fed Zeri. BLG need to find a way to one-shot it. It's very hard to do that. Maybe Beitran can get himself like a flash 3 Talon Strike knock-up onto them. But doing that through Cyclone, Braum's passive and all, Scion bulk as well, very, very hard to do so.
You realistically need on page 1 dragging a shockwave on top of the Zeri, steadfast presence preventing it from ulting, and just bounce housing it. You need to get all of your CC landing on the Zeri all at once to blow up, and if you can do that, then maybe. But she's got flash, she's got barrier, she's got all of her own inherent mobility, the heal on the Braum in front of her, Wukong and Scion there to buy space, and of course Aki, bit of a joke, but he's known as a bit of a Wukong OTP in some circles, and he is really good at this champion. Here's the dragon start. Away.
That's of the Braum. That's one of the disengaged tools down. Doomby lands that E. Does he want to fly back in, get a chunk out? Remember, he does have that Seekers, can go in and buy time. There goes the Scion ult.
Beitran went flashing on in, and Leave just bets to flash away himself. Shockwave wide, Crescent Guard now down, Beitran in danger. On the other side though, Elk doing some work, but it's just not enough. They've blown up the Poppy. As Zeri cleans up the jungler, that's sole point for NIP.
Beitran hadn't charged up that Q. If he charged up the full Q for the instant knock-up, that combo would have landed, but you're going on to the flash Zeri, and the hands check is passed by Leave, who goes away with another kill. NIP steamrolling this game. They're 7,000 gold ahead almost. Get themselves the dragon. Atkan has spawned just now, and BLG, without, you know, their jungler, likely to lose that objective too.
Leave, second and fourth. That's the ultra truck laser on tonight. At this point, it really stings. There's a lot of work there. Back towards Atacam we go. Worth noting, PP got a little low, but unfortunately for the side of BLG, so is Knight. Doomby threatening on the other side. Elk is still here, has ult and level 11. Could still be pretty scary here. I just don't know how aggressively BLG want to contest. They are coming down, but Beitran's still up by the tier 2.
They don't have the smite. They do have the killer instinct. They're still shredded for now. The clone comes out though, and I don't really think they can do that much more from it.
Solical not shoved into the wall, so it doesn't really get that much fire. The decimating smash interrupts the searing charge. Gonna look at Solical now again, doesn't have that flash. Finally knocked up, jump forward, gets a decent shield, in comes Braum. Solo kill survives.
They just don't have the damage. They don't have the damage. BLG struggling to hit the targets that they need to. And their combos, W almost hits that. I guess it wouldn't have killed, but hey, it was close to it. The Observer's baiting us a little bit. BLG will stay to take the bot lane turret. They have objective bounties, so they will get a little bit of extra gold from that. But NIP, serious credit to them. They're playing out the front to backs well. They haven't been caught in that backline, and you can see how hard it is for BLG to land the damage onto the targets that they want to. You know, the Ornal can get blocked by a Braum shield. Beitran, even if he flashes in onto this area, if they have flash too, they flash away. And that means that you don't have a very good ball carrier. You are just kind of hoping that someone messes up. And that's not been something you can rely on. Aki has a 2-level lead, by the way. Might actually go for an all-in here.
Look for it. Beitran doing his best to just be a little obnoxious here and there. Gets the knockout. Look to step on forwards. Aki around. In they go with the Cyclone. Looking for the second Cyclone. They can hop on forwards. And they just eviscerate that. Shins out. Nothing to be done. Knight drop down as well. Unfortunately, you're a knight in the era of armed weaponry. That is a full auto gun in the hands of Azeri, and knight armor doesn't do a lot versus that.
Let's say armed weaponry. I mean, you know, knights also had weapons too.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to get towards guns.
Like the gun,
the angle.
The gunpowder era.
That's the one, exactly. But it was, you get the idea. I just didn't phrase it correctly. What can I say? Not my job or anything. W7D2 eats a bit of damage, but it's not enough. And we'll get to reset here. Full Zonya's completed for this Akali. It's increasingly obnoxious to bring down.
This is an absolute trouncing by NIP.
Yeah.
This is not close. I'm surprised that BLG took the early fights they did around the Dragon and the Herald. I think that really exacerbated the issue. I think if they could have sat back a little bit more, used the fact that Bin had a very good early laning phase, used the fact that Elk was still picking up kills despite the fact that Leave was as well, I think they could have calmed down and maybe ran back into a better state in this game. Instead, they bought into a number of fights they had no right taking, and Leave has torn them apart. I think that the team of NIP has protected Leave very well as the one consistent damage source on that roster, because most of the time it's like, well, okay, it's the Zeri, kill the Zeri. They've not been able to do that because it's hard to get through the Scion, hard to get through the Cyclone, and as long as he has Flash, it's very hard to land the Shinzao Orianna combo onto him.
And it feels like if Beitran or Knight look to aggressively posture with the Shockwave combo, especially if Knight doesn't have Flash, the turnaround, yes, from Lee, but also from this Wukong, from this Akali, is very, very obnoxious at this point. There's a lot of threats here, and I think it's great news for NIP that Lee feels like he's got other lanes now that will be supporting him where he's going on. Aki looking a lot more confident on the suite of champions available to him in the jungle right now, and the other side of this for me is W7D2 looks like he's got an idea about how he wants to play in the meta again. He's looking a lot more competent on things like the Akali, things like the Victor, and he's finding a lot more angles to be useful here in the game.
Yeah, seeing some comments in chat over on Onivia talking about, well, every team makes playoffs, right? That's not strictly true. If you're in Group Ascend, you have a chance at playoffs. Top 8 immediately lock playoffs. Bottom 2 will fight off with the top 2 of Group Nirvana. I believe that's the case anyway. We'll have a number of teams fighting off for bottom 2 as we get through to that point. So Nirvana, top 2 teams have a chance of making a playoffs through the last chance qualifiers.
Pretty important, and NIP on an upswing is good news for them, but it does feel like once again our power rankings in the LPL have once again shifted into some weird order as ever.
Oh, I'm actually wrong with that. It's bottom 6 of Group Ascend and top 2 of Nirvana fight for the playoffs play, and that's be partly seeding, partly qualification.
There you go. Top 4 locked in. Everyone else has to do a little bit of additional work. There is solo kill. Potentially zoned off a little bit. The keeper's bait doesn't really land onto that much, but it does hit Aki now. Knight, though, is just dead. And Leave gets to flash on forward. The lightning crashes. And perhaps Zeus was the wrong player to have that name. Anybody who's a Zeri player ought to have a thought about being named after a god of thunder, because that is some Thor-like work there.
We'll give him Poseidon. Who needs all the thunder? Poseidon's got a stormy seas as well. He's got some cool stuff. He also controls the lobsters, as many people know. Look,
where did that meme even
it was
from?
a screenshot of not iCarly, one of the Disney Plus, not Disney, one of the Disney Channel shows, and there was someone saying, I do not control the rate at which the lobsters die, because someone was asking it. Then someone just like kept editing out words to explain different gods, like I do not control the die, and that's Hades, because he doesn't do that, and Thanatos does control the die, as does apparently Leave in this game, but apparently, I mean, he could also control the rate at which the lobsters die, you know. Great many things in the power of Leave. The pop build isn't bad there. It's just, look, the front line is invulnerable from NIP. They're not taking damage at this point. Elk doesn't damage them enough. Knight doesn't damage them enough on the other side. W7D2 free to fly into the back line. BLG's front line isn't stopping the Akali going anywhere.
Doesn't feel like it right now. Bit of a chunk there onto the Baron. Doing their best to...
Alright, Baron Steel is the only way that BLG get back into this game, so let's see if they can do it. Oh, Bin's not a front line!
Oh god, it's W7D2 heads over the wall with the Twilight Shroud looking to threaten Elk. In they go again, R2 gets another slow flash over the wall from Solo Kill, looking for the Soul Flash over, then Leave goes wall riding on in. We might not have Skate 4 yet, but you would be surprised with the way that Leave is playing. Forces another flash. Can't quite get that many kills.
That's a 4-man Shockwave, and it does nothing because there's no damage, and there's an Ocean Soul. Like, NIP have Ocean Soul. They've got a 9-kill Zeri with a 3k lead. Like, Elk is getting schooled here. Like, I know that a lot of people are very fond of Elk, but Leave has been absolutely monstrous in this game.
I'm not sure it's necessarily Elk's fault, if you know what I mean. He's done what he can. But what do you do at this point? At least he's got 3 items now. Might have a bit more damage. Baitron steps on forwards. They're still on the Baron. Can't get in. On just about to survive. Elk looking for at least a kill here. Doinby in danger, but still gets to back away. Finally falls. Baitron gets that. But that's Lee heading on forwards. Zeri is getting certified. It's another double over to him. 11-0 now on the Lightning Rat of Zorn.
The only reason that fight looked reasonably close for a while is because Leave wasn't there. It's the only reason it was slightly, you know, looking okay for BLG. They do manage to take down Doinby. Does die through the Zhonya's as well, but it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's an 11,000 gold lead for NIP. They will very, very much be forcing this to a game 3. Double lane push in. Some death timers on Knight and Elk will be enough to save the game, I would imagine, but not enough to save the double inhib and a breaking of the base.
Getting increasingly tough out here. Elk will have the ultimate up. There is a shockwave on Knight. I don't know what they will do at this point in the game, let's be real. Already a 3,500 Baron power play. See
Jesus
how long
Christ.
it takes them to end this game. That's a big old gold lead. 12,000 currently. We had the nearly 20,000 gold lead the other day.
Yeah.
I think NIP are going to quite get there. They'll probably end the game before they get to that point.
Yeah,
but,
that is the problem.
It is a pretty excessive gold lead at this point.
Oh my god, Elk. Yeah, I mean, Doinby is hunting.
Lips him more around the corner. He's in very deep. The 3 members. No, Doinby!
Will go down as Elk does manage to survive. Doinby saw an angle. It was the wrong angle, Seb. It was the wrong angle.
Wrong angle.
So, there's going to be 1 kill back and a little bit of a delaying on the Baron buff. I will say that IP don't necessarily need the Akali to team fight. I mean, you do have a 5,000 gold lead on your AD carry who has a GA at this point. The fact that, by the way, Leave hasn't even needed to go Lord Dominic's Regards when there's an Ornn in the game shows you how far ahead of the game they are. It actually just doesn't matter.
That's the one. It's just very, very scary. Now he's got a GA on top of everything else alongside that Zeal for even more move speed and crit level. Look at this one again as Doinby burns his Shuriken flip to get into range. Does do a fair amount of damage here. Doesn't spoil everyone in the bush at least. And a reminder, he's got the Zhonya's, not the Shadow Flame, and therefore Elk actually takes a lot less damage from that R than you might expect. Also good ult from Elk to stay alive.
He's also now got the Molten Edge as well, the upgraded Infinity Edge. I know it's not called that anymore. I'm sorry.
It is to me.
It is to me. So, I mean, the copium is, hey, Bin can maybe upgrade some items at some point. Only hit level 14 right now, by the way. 2 levels down on solo kill. Part of that will be the increased value of the petals coming in from NIP, but a lot of it's just big individual advantage. Bin could knock up there.
Elk currently does next to no damage to solo kill, trying his best to get through another passive or 2. Finally brings it down, but fortunately, so does everyone else. In they go. It's a triple for Lee and a double over towards Doinby. Full house for NIP. They split it 3 and 2, and the base will be split apart to boot.
The 3-man shockwave, not nearly enough. The Ornn reactivation denied by the Braum. We'll have to question how this draft ended up the way it did. This was not close. This was a schooling. BLG, you gotta do better than that. NIP slaughter them on the Rift.
It was an exciting game 1, and clearly NIP went, oh, we can do better.
Good versus Silas. Do you Kled top lane Renekton mid and just say, well, Doinby's better? I know we lost the 1v1, but he's better at this than we think. What are we doing? Are we Renekton mid and then solo kill plays it? Is it Doinby mid? I think it should be Kled mid for the heal cut onto the Silas.
Yeah, the Grievous wound on the bear trap on a rope is really good into Silas.
Doinby just really wants to play Kled against Knight today. He did it in the 1v1, and he's doing it again now. This is great.
Oh, can you smell what the mid is cooking? NIP, Doinby will never change. There will always be something in the back pocket. I still remember on Shaugu Reapers where sometimes it's just like, yeah, it's a Cassidin angle. No one else is playing Cassidin, but Doinby sure as hell was. He's always been that kind of player. There's always been something wrong with
Your Maokai ultimate can, I mean, actually, it's only really the Maokai ultimate, which is very good. Anyway, we'll get into the Gyos, and we'll see what the crowd thinks.
欢迎来到英雄联盟。敌军还有
a lot of echo in that one. Both teams here in force. It's an action-packed day today. After this one, we still got IG versus JDG, which should be a real joy.
By the way, folks, the last game is the first time Doinby has beaten Knight in a game since 2022. Obviously, he hasn't beaten him basically since he came back.
Wow.
This year. And the last time he beat Knight in a series was a year before that in 2021. Hasn't won a series against Knight since 2021. Of course, he took those 2 years off, so it looks a lot longer than it is. But Doomby historically not had a good record into Knight as a player. He's picked a good lane counter here. He's going to get the pop back. Does he need to start the E? He actually does get started. Misses the E though.
Grand entrance knock-up. Doomby might be forced down from Skull early on. Isn't quite. Worth noting with that trade on to the Kled. Won't be able to abuse Skull so easy early on.
And Knight reaches another milestone in his own career. 700 games in the LPL. Doomby also on that list. By the way, 9 of the top 10 players who've played the most games in the LPL are still active, which is really, really cool to see.
Seems to be his Doomby. Knockdown. I'm kind of passing over that, which I shouldn't be. It's 9 of the top 10 still being active. He's pretty damn cool.
Only Yago who's not, which is a shame, because I like watching him play too. I'm a big Yago fan.
Of course, the Yago not in the league right now. So he had a bit of a weird old exit from the league with the way things worked out. Elk gets mounted up on, though, and Elk down very low. That's a lot of summoners burn bot side.
The flash out of that W, crucial there. The way that NIP can win this game is by slaughtering early lanes. Now, the problem with Doomby losing his mount up early, and it means that he can't control the wave with Qs, means he doesn't get the heal cut from the Q coming through as well for Knight. He'll have mounted up by now at this point, but still a little bit annoying. Knight going to try and get that knockdown again. If Silas can make sure it's cleared off of Skull, he gets way better wave control, and he doesn't get the heal cut onto him as well. Ben now getting ganked earlier, though. That's a problem.
Looking top side. Already been a bit of a weird path here. Sejuani's looking for the invade on the other side, worth noting. This might end up being a bit of a split map state. Bin throws up the dark possession, but it's to very little end, I feel. Slice.
Solo kill in mid lane?
That's the mid lane. Doomby picks up Knight.
This is a solo kill first blood in mid lane, which we saw completely off camera. We were just saying, hey, if you get the remounts off early, then whatever. The one thing which Kled does is kill you early, and Doomby does that. Very rare for this to happen against Knight, getting solo killed in mid lane. He's had a rough run of it against Doomby. Now we've got the dive bot side, teleport in from solo kill.
But he's joining this bot side, leaving danger. Permafrost comes down, double shattering strike! It's all going wrong! To solo kill, want to look for something more. Doesn't have the flash, can't get over. So ends up just being down here to pick up the wave. Might end up with a bit of a inversion of lanes in short order.
Knight was saying before the game that their losses were embarrassing and he was looking to take revenge. So what happens here? He must be a mountain. He goes under turret and takes 2 turret shots and then gets... Oh my god.
Oh dear.
Knight, my dude, that's just not good enough. And Doomby gets that last Q, I'd imagine. Knight takes way too many turret shots. Free first blood in that mid lane. Very unlike Knight to die like that, especially on Silas, one of his best champions.
That's an unfortunate way to go. Of course, this is still into a Kled, can mount up and always turn around those fights you think are winnable. Until they very much are not. Now gets to go back, has that longsword, has that ruby crystal, feeling a lot happier after the early woes in the lane.
So Knight, you know, happy tower shots in the mid lane. Top lane gets ganked because they don't have the good enough jungle vision, jungle tracking. And bot side dies in their dive. Every single lane across the map fucks up in the space of a minute for BLG. I actually just can't believe it. NIP, they need to hard win through bot lane. Leave, not going to get hit with the dark possession, but doesn't have the flash, probably dead anyway.
Yeah, still trapped on the other side of the wall, though, which means he's in melee range of BLG. Bin donated that kill. Nice gank there from Bejuan through the lane.
Leave still blowing the cleanse for reasons as well. Trying to, I guess, cleanse out on the permafrost. You don't get the damage from it reprocking, but not going to survive there either way. Knight now down some gold in mid lane, even in CS, and okay in terms of XP, but yeah, bit of a shocker there for the first blood. And not something that we typically see from him. See if Doomby can translate that into anything, because again, the Kled kills you early. That's the champion's identity. Besides that, doesn't really do much. So he needs to get something more than that.
Hasn't seen it worked out. BLG now getting a bit of a shove down bot side. Looking to claim a few plates here. We'll do so. The second one over towards Elk. Is up actually a fair amount of CS into Leaf. Of course, died that top side, losing that wave. So it's evened up what would have been a fairly good lead for Leaf otherwise.
And so BLG, they've very quickly stabilized, actually. Very quickly stabilized. Bin has double buffs as well from the buff transfer of dying in the dive, getting it back from him top side. So He gets that, which means he'll have the red buff sustain under tower as well, so they can never hope to dive. This never helped to push him out of lane. He gets the mana sustain early on as well. First couple of blue buffs of the game, very important for that. Remember back in the day when sometimes you'd even give first blue buff over to... So hang on a second, Knight has the Maokai ult before Aki does. That could be a problem. I don't think NIP should be walking up here.
Comes Nature's Grasp, thrown out towards NIP. Gets the root onto the Maokai, but not too much more to be seen.
That was actually potentially quite dangerous there from NIP walking up like that. The first Silas ult of the game, if you steal a champion that isn't in a solo lane, you can get it before that. It can be kind of scary.
Knight under a little bit of threat there from Doomby, who goes jousting on forwards.
Is that the E joust?
Joust, yes.
Ah, cool. I forgot about that.
I can't remember what there's something about his his W is like ridiculous. It's like flash on down forwards as the Ferromancy is used. Elk got a feather call though, gets a decent chunk. Aki around,
Great
remember
chunk.
still no ult.
Mate, that's with the Doran's blade and a cull. That's a lot more damage than I thought it was.
But there's the one where he hits someone. It's the auto reset. I can never remember the name of it.
Yeah, it's the W. Is it Vicious Strikes or something like that?
It is kind of ridiculous, over the top violence thing.
You have Bear Trap on a rope.
It's key.
Yeah, I got Joust, and the ult is Charge, which of course he can use right now if there's a fight in the bottom river. We'll see what happens there. There's actually a jump potentially going forwards in mid lane. Beitron has the level 6. There is a fight happening between mid laners as we talk about. There's Naki flashes out actually from the Feather Caller as well. Elk doing good damage. While all this is happening, important to note that Doomby couldn't respond because Beitron and Knight were making sure he wasn't in position to freely ult. He was getting attacked in the mid lane.
Violent tendencies.
Violent tendencies, right. I thought it was like Vicious Strike. So Violent tendencies is better. It fits him well. So back in towards some resets coming through from this. What happened in mid lane? It was... Oh, that was cool. So Doomby went unstoppable by casting his ult backwards, which is... so I don't get the sound cue, so I didn't hear the actual...
I didn't hear it either.
Well, it should be a global thing, so it should have been in there somewhere. Anyway, the fact that we didn't hear that's completely fine, but... yeah, basically using the ultimate to go unstoppable to ignore the flash ult from Beitron.
That's the one. Does a good job of escaping well there.
Scuttleproud playing BLG. You do get quick grub taking with the melee synergy. Beitron will use that. Does have smite if he wants to use that for a second one. That being said, you do have that first bullet time of the game potentially from Lee coming through. Actually, hang on, wait, did Lee... Oh no, I was wondering if he'd leveled it up. He only just leveled it up now. Was a little bit delayed on doing so. So one grub taken, none others contested so far.
One, BLG stepping forwards here, getting some decent value. There's Elk. Alongside his support, just trading up with their opposite numbers in NIP. Grub's still, of course, largely up for the taking. In they go with the Grand Entry. PP God will interrupt on mid-battle dance, though. There's another use of that Nature's Grasp. Bong gonna heal, flash away, stays alive. The turnaround now potentially available for BLG. PP God in danger, goes down. Elk can keep throwing up feathers. Bullet time is solid, but it's well dodged away from them. Ability very strong, but over they go. Azaki with the Bramble Smash knocks through both.
I think Elk was a little disrespectful there. Solar Kill now has the flash to go forwards onto Beitron.
And he's just going to die as well. It's another kill over towards NIP. Suddenly they're 4 kills deep on the bot side. Knight's nearly dead to Doomby again.
Yeah, Doomby used that flash on bot side. Knight flashed away. I guess Doomby was looking to see if he could deny the teleport in from Knight. Beitron very, very close to getting an extra kill on that top side. And honestly, despite him having a good game 1, I think Elk in this game... At least at that moment, that's a big misplay from him. He had that ultimate. He could have ignored bits of the bullet time, used it for a bigger blade caller, feather caller, and I think that also not ulting early enough onto the Maokai, also a big problem there too. So watch us through this too. Just watch how Elk plays out the rest of the fight, because the first part of this is really good actually. Steps behind the root, that's good. Gets a lot of feathers down. Manages to threaten roots onto multiple people, gets a great amount of damage here. Then the problem comes through around about here. He should have pressed that ult way earlier. Ignore one wave of the bullet time, and then, of course, stop the damage coming through from the Maokai too. Still gets rooted. Big mistake by Elk there. Takes way too much damage. He should have been able to carry the back end of that fight.
Of course, Solokill gets to come on forwards, and Bin's turned up, but to what end, right? Throws down a Dark Procession that Solokill says, cool, I guess I have to flash. So it's a flash, I suppose. Beitron does get to come on over and finish up the grubs, which is good news. You've got the Yorick, and that gives the Yorick a lot of value here. Top side now, a potential dive angles. Elk on. And Beige1 having done with the grubs can look to jump onto Solo Kill. Has no flash, no ult, so may well end up just going down here. Glacial Prison after helps set up a kill for Elk. Nice response from BLG to get themselves back on a more even keel.
And they still have the 3 grubs too, so they'll be able to crush through this turret soon enough. Doomby is on that bot side, doing well on the 1v1. Has the Black Cleaver first for arm shredding too. You know, Knight has had to blow his flash defensively multiple times. Of course, got solo killed in lane. But at least he's not bleeding out in terms of CS and in terms of XP. He's playing on the defensive half of this matchup. I think he's doing well enough with regards to that. Beige1 doesn't have ult. Could potentially look for something here. He lands. That's dangerous.
A lot of damage back onto Leave, who needs to start backing away. Flash away. In they go with the turnaround on the bullet time. Can't quite get that much up, but the health bars being traded as they are potentially good. As Leave, I think that's his flash gone down, not coming back up. I still just get a bit confused by the spectator.
Yeah, he just used it in that play. Hang on, got to fight over the dragon. Oh, that's the Kled ult.
Charge! Yells Doomby, jousting forwards afterwards. Looking for potential angle, the permafrost beginning to come on down. Of course, this is still Claire, not the easiest to bring on down. On going to try and find the quickness, gets interrupted by the Nature's Grasp, though. Grand entrance after, they get turned around. That is going to be at least one back. Misfortune beginning to free fire. Doomby, no chance to rebound. Solo kill, slicing, dicing, trying to kill off Elk, does so with the culling of the meek. On the top end of the fight, Knight in a 1v2 loses that one too. And NIP stand firmer than BLG in the grand scheme of things.
Somehow, despite the fact that NIP don't have that great consistent damage, get a great play through, dashing in, knock up under tower.
Nice knock up onto Leaf, who's taken the turret aggro. Bin flashes forward for the last right and gets 2.
Bin and On save what was a disaster play, as this is such a BLG way to get their 10,000th kill within the LPL. Aki will flash forward, and he won't finish the kill because it's another shovel to the head. Bin's got a graveyard full of them now.
10,000 kills! It's so cool!
I just called that out as we were going through the play. The kills under the tower with their 10,000th. Throughout their history on the LPL, NIP, they should have walked away with a massive one play out of that. Solo kill, massively carrying through the first part of that fight. I think Elk has another difficult fight from... Look, it's quite hard to track everything in this, not gonna lie. But as we go through this, you know, the charge, not fantastic. And now your engage tools are a little bit worse, really, to work with after this point. But look what Elk does midway through this fight. Has that ultimate and still kind of goes a little too close to that Renekton, ends up getting completely blown open. Elk's positioning to get within range of that Renekton E into the stun. Big problem for him in that fight. Should be doing a lot more in these situations.
And then it was looking pretty good for the dive, then On. Actually really good angle in with a battle dance into the grand entrance. On just about 5. Flash from Bin to get the last right. Any more damage and Bin is a dead man, but he's not. He comes away 6-1 Yorick.
What a way to get 10,000 kills as an organization. Feels like a very BLG way to do it. So, gold lead to BLG, by the way, despite the fact that the dopamine of the kills largely going to NIP's way across this game.
So, Knight gonna get a decent chunk. Does some work there. Try and turn this around now. A solo kill hit by the Morning Mist, and I'm sorry, this Yorick is just so strong right now. It says Sejuani that picks that one up. I don't think they managed to get a Heartsteel proc. It was a bit of a shame on the other side. Knight having stolen the quickness, and now the look around with the Nature's Grasp. I apologize because it was on with the quickness.
Oh, he gets dismounted.
It does get dismounted. Doomby now in danger. Gonna get rocket belted into the chain smash. Flash away from that reactivation. Bullet time turnaround. On flashing on out of it. Knight goes in himself. Gets some Kingslayer here. Like, turns back around with the abscond. The abduction finally brought low. But BLG, they just get the clutch.
The charge of the Light Brigade gets dismounted before he can hit his target. And Aki caught out before it, definitely not helping. They're trying to give the kill over to Elk, but he can't quite catch up in time. And now the dopamine's worn off a little bit. Some great early kills from NIP, punishing BLG across early lanes. But BLG, they've gotten a hell of a lot of gold in a very, very short amount of time. 2,000 gold ahead in the top lane matchup, 1,000 gold in the jungle. Elk is going to get himself back to even after... Leave got himself so far ahead of the game on what is actually a lethality misfortune, by the way. He's going for the full kind of shred build on the champion to leverage off the fact that they have the Black Cleaver on Doomby. BLG have just slaughtered NIP in the slim margins. It's just cut just so close on that knife's edge. Going to move towards the Herald on the top side.
Starting it up now. Permafrost available. Beige1. The river, but the control wards there better for NIP right now. Oblivion Orb done for Aki here. A bit of anti-heal on top of that Kled. Of course, Kled, his anti-heal is single target. Great in the 1v1.
Can't be everywhere.
Can't be everywhere, whereas the ability for Maokai to spread that damage is pretty good in fairness.
So go back to what happened here. So Doomby and Knight took a hard trade because you can see the Conqueror was active on Doomby, but then Aki was coming around, caught out by On. Great rotation through. Knight, very good play through from it. And then the tower shot and the Maokai ult ends up dismounting, so the charge can't come through. And then Knight, honestly, just starts to wail on at this point. There is no anti-heal because the Q from Doomby has to be the mounted version for it to get value there. Doomby misjudges this, the Ignite comes through, and even then, the Ignite is not enough to get enough. Great last bit of burst coming through from Knight, who gets so much value out of multiple cooldowns here in that bot side fight.
That he does. Very, very scary indeed. Now NIP in a bit of a pickle, I have to say. Down 3,500 gold. A lot of the early objectives have not gone their way in the way that I think they were hoping for, as they've lost the grubs. The Yorick is now untenably strong in a side lane. It does feel like they're just getting out clutched. Shout out Honesty as a sort of hidden hero here to On. This is multiple clutches now in a row that his Rakan has been a key part of. The tower defense under the tier 1, that anti-dive there in that bot lane between the tiers 1 and 2. Really good stuff from him, who has been threading the needle very well on this Rakan and not dying on the whole while doing it.
On has been excellent in this game. He has been my MVP for this one. So disruptive, so decisive about where he's moving on the map as well, making those unseen movements. BLG, some of the Herald mid lane. Yes, they do lose that dragon, but they'll take that mid lane outer turret. And with a game as scrappy as this, having your outer towers for as long as possible can be very, very helpful to give you just a staging post to make those plays from. NIP going to be able to stop a second charge. I tell a lie, they're not going to be able to stop a second charge.
No.
As BLG, while that's happening as well, pushing in both side lanes too, so controlling the map very well.
Glacial Prison comes on down, goes
Solo
wide,
kill.
solo kill. Potential angle on in. Not find too much there. All the while though, look where the Yorick is, and NIP just can't make their way through their own jungle, so Bin just gets to auto-queue that turret a few times.
God, it's another 700 gold! Like, Solo Kill was trying to look for a blast going into a flash W onto L. Problem is, it has that cleanse, so you would have to just rely on, hey, it's a lot of damage, rather than, oh, the CC will just straight up kill you. Shame that they couldn't at least blow that cleanse, just to blow the Dominus, and he leaves a wave, which the Yorick then uses to kill that tower. So that is the cost opportunity. Your opportunity cost is, I could either look to kill that. If I look to kill the Xayah, I will lose this on the other side. Doesn't even get the benefit of the play he was choosing. Now down 3,000 gold.
I know we were chatting about how the fact it can be a little hard to win with a split push win condition, but BLG with the grubs, with this Yorick so giga fed, with Silas off on the other side, the 1-3-1, this pulling of the map, playing for turret pressure, playing for the split map, is currently doing pretty good wonders here into NIP, as it feels like they just don't really have an answer to particularly this Yorick in a side lane. On just being jumped on briefly. Each one setting up some permafrost, but it's not going to be procced by anybody, so everyone backs away for now.
Bin has the Bramble Vest too now. That's a bit of an issue for a number of the members on NIP. As some people are calling out in chat as well, what the hell is this MF build? Yep, can't say I've seen this one before. We have seen some lethality MF, but you do really, I mean, I guess in this game you don't want to auto-attack. This is a not auto-attacking build in team fights. You're looking for like the very quick kind of like auto-double-up kind of trades and stuff like that. And instead, you're getting a little bit of crit chance from the Essence Reaver, but mainly that's just to say, I'll always have mana to do what I want. It's not about the sustain and the brawling potential of the Bloodthirst. It's saying, look, I'm just going to have straight up damage. If you walk into a bad bullet time, I would imagine it'll go towards something like the Infinity Edge next if you can. Well, maybe it's the Lord Dominus regardless as well. And look, either way, big item next. If you can crit with that ult too, very nasty.
Potentially an auto on that turret, can't quite find it. Doomby doing his best to cut this way, but this Kled has not done the smashing of the lane outside of that one solo kill. That's a little ironic considering he's top laner. And the rest of the map has kind of fallen apart now. Yes, Leave is decently strong with this lethality Misfortune at 4 and 3. The problem is they are still down 5,000 gold, and a lot of it is in a Yorick who will now win any 1vx scenario you care to mention. Leave, the person who was supposed to be scary, just gets CC'd into oblivion. Cleanse be damned. PP God will Ferromancy crash down and crash out. The Magnet Storm means nothing in the face of all the damage. He dies as well. The whole bot lane of NIP down for the count.
So hard to find a safe platform to ult from as the MF. One thing is it's just quite hard to get people in the same direction, to get multiple targets into the bullet time. The other one is, how the hell do you stand still when you do have Rakan able to fly into the backline, Knight steal a Maokai ult like he does do in civil situations? He's apparently getting caught out. He'll probably die here, actually. No wolves to save him.
Oh, nice attempt there. The wolves there. No, they're not. They've been cleared out. Can't find an abduction out and ends up going down. But of course, all the while, BLG are on Atakan. So it'll be 1 kill over for that, of course. Soul Point on the line in a minute. And NIP are going to be the ones getting to put some waves pushed and try and fight around that. I feel like they're going to have to, or the game is all but over.
Not exactly sure what Knight was doing on the wave there. Maybe thought that NIP would be contesting the Atakan harder and then looking for a flank angle. Obviously, that wasn't the case, and he couldn't keep himself safe in the mid lane. Probably just a little while since he played against a goddamn Clyde mid as well. I mean, I know it's doing B. You have to vaguely accept it in the back of your mind that you can play it, but have to see it like the semi-global it is. That fast response tool. We talked about it so much. I feel like I talk about every cast because I'm so passionate about it. It's just ability to just kind of run at people on a very quick hair trigger is very important. Like stuff like this, going towards the side. Which ult is Knight going to steal?
Gonna go in for a fair amount of damage. In comes that Nature's Grasp to disengage. Blue buff stolen away. Some big tools there burned. I want to call out that Nature's Grasp in particular. Huge team fight tool that's just not available for what would be your Soul Point fight.
It's not even bad damage, Rex. It's the AP Maokai. It is going to be the Scuttle Crab claimed by Aki, but I mean, are they going to die for the return of this? It's the Sejuani ult going forwards. PP God flashing out, very low HP. Knight's been ignited, or something like that. That's the bullet time stolen by Knight for reasons beyond me. That's actually not bad from Knight. Gets some decent zoning.
That's a chunk there. Burns a lot of the members low. Solo kill. Attacked by a number of grubs. The Dominus will quickly clear them out at the very least.
Oh, Knight took the tower early when he died. Right, that makes sense. Okay, I have many of us have died for Lost Platos. I know it's not Lost Platos in the Unitary, but we have died for the buildings we have.
Lost Torreten.
Das Torreten. Or Die Torreten, that's the turret.
It'll be, it's Das Schloss, is it Das, not, that's keys.
I don't know,
Das
Sam.
Schloss is the castle.
That's the castle, I don't know there's tower. I'd imagine there's a specific... Sam, do you know how many castles there are in Germany?
A lot
they will have a specific word for turret.
It's very true, they have a specific word for most things.
Der Turm, thank you. Der Turm, thank you, Angie, our resident German expert.
I suppose if it's plural, it'd be Der Turme.
Die Türme.
It'd be Die Turme.
Yep. Anyway, PP God doesn't have flash this time. Oh, the Dark Possession is not feeling great.
It's a hearse. In comes the bullet time, but it's a 21 gun salute to the fallen members. In comes the grand entrance and Leave goes down. How many R's can I roll in one? Find out next time on League of Legends Z. The feathers get pulled. Cell Saga continues as he's unleashing his final power, the Kamehameha. Oh, that one hurts as they will continue to look forwards for something more. The Glacial Prison comes down and do not pass go, do not pick up 300 gold.
Oh my god, they've gone Super Saiyan BLG. It's like the blue one, except it's got some pink in there too, for reasons we'll be describing to you in the next arc of this TV show. BLG get a really good cancel there from On again. Again, On this Rakan has been exceptional. This has been a fantastic Rakan game. Managed to dive in, stop the bullet time. That was a great bullet time angle. That could have been game-changing, potentially, in another world. Just a little bit too far behind at this point. PP God had his flash forced around the dragon fight beforehand. Knight gets himself into the backline, but On is the hero here. The Markyle not able to stop him. It's a teammate which tanks it. Knight gets the assassination afterwards. Yes, trades in that 1-for-1, but it means that the MF, who is a huge amount of damage, goes down with it as well. But make no mistake, On is the guy who's really making this game very difficult for NIP. This Rakan has been exceptional.
So, 3 minutes.
On VP, yes, I agree. I think that was very clever, Sam. On VP.
I think because they got because
if it's look, I'm saying Baneblade trait type
MVP,
on VP.
That's correct. For some reason, I was going to VIP, and that's not how VIP would be spelled with On as the first letter. And I was just like, that took me way too long to figure out where it felt right but wrong. In comes the bullet time. Ferromancy crash down alongside the Magnet Storm. Do kill off Aki on the other side. Bench one gets to back away, ends up being a 1-for-1. They do get the kill on Bin though, which is pretty important, and do and be hex gated in, all the while the Knight wasn't there.
I'm not gonna lie. I do not know how NIP are going to get any work done. By the way, that's Aki's 1,000th kill within the LPL, I believe that is.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
Another breakpoint. He's 10 times less than Bim by the record.
Jesus Christ, is that true? I feel like he might have had more than that over time. I'm trying to think. But, yeah, that was a full channel bullet time onto Bin, and it only did about half the HP of the Yorick overall. Baron's now been started. Knight's over into this side of play too. Wasn't there at the last play. No smite, as you rightly said. NIP looking for a fight instead.
Charge of the Light Brigade. They're into the Baron pit, and they will take the Baron will be LG. But Billy Gaming are still going to do a lot of work here as Knight with the Magnet Storm. Sorry, it's a Dominus around him. I should know that one better by now. Does all of the damage all of the time. Abducts a little further forwards, and solo kill. You're going to have to do a lot of your namesake here if you want even a hope of coming out of this one, and that's just not going to happen, is it?
I love in the modern day and age we could have the Wizard Lizard, if only in Stolen Ultima only. The Dominus actually scales with AP.
It does.
It's like 0.1 per second. Knight buys a Magi's because why not? And he walks away from the fight. BLG get themselves a 3-man Baron to walk towards the Nexus.
Steals the Nature's Grasp again, but there ain't no natural what Silas doing in this game, baby. They'll knock down another. The Nexus turret's under siege. Yorick continues to hit them with a shovel. The ultimate in structure destruction tools. Sledgehammers be damned. Just get yourself a shovel and send a load of your minions, which in the form of zombie figures, which is definitely not a comment on the modern day work-life balance, to end the game for you. BLG bring it to their own victory, 2-1.
Still going to lock it in. Ezreal Leona is a good lane. We talk about it at length in terms of, hey, you can proc the sunlight very well because Ezreal has lots of abilities in the early level of the game, early levels of the game to, you know, kind of weave autos and abilities to kind of continually proc the quick sunlight stacks. But as you said, Missing gets Rel. Rel is a comfortable champion for Missing. JDG, not that tanky. We'll need to be very wary of the Yorick on side lanes. And I'm quite worried about Azir Misfortune without a great ability to peel for them. Talia is good into Azir. Ezreal's pretty good into both these champions too. I think IG walk away with the draft win, especially with JJ on the Neferi as well. I know he had a bit of a dust game against WE on this pick the other day. Typically a very good player of that champion. I think that the Shy can run away with the game. I think JJ can run away with the game. And I think that, you know, Rookie on the Tilly, which is one of his best champions too, has a great ability to just be that maestro of the map too, using that ultimate to respond to things on call.
I think then the other element of that is on the other side for JDG. They have got a pretty good wombo combo. If they do get
Acoustics for the arena.
Jingdong's chant leader, still the strongest lungs in the league.
That dude is iconic. Dude's iconic. Shy. Okay. I'll actually getting his passive fully stacked up there, getting a good chunk onto the Yorick. Yorick loses the, well, rather can lose the first few levels of the game versus the Jax. Jax, as soon as it gets to a couple of, you know, to more points in the Yorick queue, struggles to deal with the sustain that Yorick gets, and then also can't necessarily go in, take a good trade, and then get out without getting hit by the Morning Mist, the goop, which flies back at you. I do think both these compositions have similar tools. You have, you know, strong fighter top laner, a global to be used between the mid jungle, good DPS from bits on both sides. You have the Azir on one side, you have the Ezreal and Talia on the other. Guess JDG have a bit more wombo, IG have a bit more range and a little bit more mobility as well, with the fact that they have the Ezreal over the Misfortune. This should be a fun game. I hope it comes down to execution. I do think that IG have the slight edge towards me, but when it's a slight edge, JDG have actually typically won with worse drafts, which is kind of crazy. God damn, that's a fan vote, though. IG, they're forever the fan favorites with these players.
Yeah, of course, we're in JDG's home arena. It's always one of those ones which is always very interesting to track, because even when they were the best team in the world, really, in 2023, it still felt like there were other teams whose fan base is just... they couldn't quite catch up to for all that JDG had been around the league for a little while. Sometimes struggle to keep fans in a way you'd be expecting otherwise sometimes.
A lot of LPL fans stick with players, not teams. Yes, they do. Things. So, for instance, a lot of the time it's like a Jacula fan or the Shy fan or Scout fan. Scout's got a lot of fans, right? For being such a veteran player in the LPL, world's winner, LPL winner. JJ is going to take 3 camps bot side, walk towards the blue buff is spotted out. Bot lane for IG have Prio, but here comes Shun, gets that empowered W.
Clears out a number of those dogs well with the Aegis Assault, but over does come a lot of people. There'll be a smite fight, one by Shun. But they're still going to keep going on forwards. Nice crash down from Missing. Interrupts the back end of the Zenith Blade.
Yeah, that's a good defensive play from Shun there. Does get his own blue buff. JJ not getting really what he came for, especially with the fact that they had the winning bot lane. You would have thought they'd be able to get more out of that. Said that Arla actually doing quite well in the early laning phase. Some sustain coming through from that last rights, but not bad from Arla.
There's a lot of pandas keep chasing him. I keep calling the ghouls grubs.
Yeah.
They've just been done now for multiple games.
Is this Meowric, but with... No,
Pandas
that's...
skin, yeah.
No, this is... Isn't that football?
No, it's Meowric. It even goes meow.
Oh.
It's just got the little pandas.
For a second, I thought it was like footballs instead. Shun, another empowered W does... oh, rather, another W goes forwards. Shun, getting...
Shield Vault.
There we go. Jump forwards in the bot lane.
Hayes gets ignited, in danger, down to about a third HP. Gala continues to put some autos down, forces a flash out of the MF as well.
So while the bot lane winning didn't help JJ get extra camps in the jungle, does now burn summoners from Pays in that bot side. Now the MF playing defensively, that's really not what you want. He's going to lose the wave to tower. Missing still level 2, has flash ignite. Here comes Pays.
TPing in on this. I think Missing is just dead, flashing away from the turret. Mako going to flash him forward for the shield of Daybreak, and they get all of the two of them. Arla turns up, but the TPs are so slow at this point in the game.
I have no idea how they got away with it. I thought Mako was just kind of frustration flashing, but gets away with the kill. Pays took too much damage. And the precursor to that, Shun will get topside camps away from JJ, but JJ does get the kill. In terms of XP, pretty good towards Shun. It's a jungle advantage, I would actually say, out of this towards Shun because of that XP advantage from it. However, Pays and Missing, really not what you want. You pick the misfortune for lane dominance and stability there. The fact that you've now died and lost a wave, that's a problem.
Eyes on it. Of course, we have got some former EDG members going up against each other from the Worlds 2021 team that did win at Worlds. JJ and Mako were on that squad, alongside Scout was on the other side of the rift. A lot of Worlds winners in this game from various different iterations.
And of course, Scout and Gala were mid lane AD carry for the LNG rosters that went to Worlds in the last while as well. So one of the great things about our great players in the LPL is that they do have this kind of shared tapestry. All of them have had stories together at some point, either being great rivals or great teammates over points in their career. But the LPL does like to forge some stories out of that one. Hazen Missing getting that push towards the top side. The Shy about 10 CS down. That chunk in early river helping out Arla. And Arla's Jax has been fantastic, by the way, over history.
One of his best champions, agreed.
Yeah, he in regional finals 23, that was when LNG had the 5-game finals versus JDG, the super team, dropped down into regional finals. The only game which they lost against EDG, which was their matchup to get towards Worlds, was because of Arla's Jax. Arla's Jax was so legendary at that point. Now, I don't think it's reached that lofty heights recently. Still, just something to keep in the back of your mind. Arla has had a very high peak on this champion before.
That he has. Gala. Let's get some autos down. Gala blocks out 1 or 2, but of course Gala times the counter-strike well. Gets a decent chunk there himself, and Jax lets you all in. And sometimes find it a little difficult to manage the Ezreal, assuming his arcane shift is off cooldown, because every time you hop forward, he hops away, and then you have to start thinking about burning flashes, or maybe trying to survive a 3v1 dive. Stun onto Mako, who had the Eclipse running, but that's now the ult blown and the counter-strike blown. Very shot taken by Gala. Other side, the Shy is getting dived, and he's going to have a lot harder time surviving that one. Does end up going 1-for-1, at least taking Missing with him.
Rookie not there to save with the global. Chooses to stay around mid lane. Kill goes over towards Missing. Really not what you want in terms of where that gold's going to. At least Pays manages to stick around for a plate gold topside. IG largely getting the better of this scenario.
Agreed.
Arla, however, does get a little bit more XP. That is important. We'll keep an eye on that, see how long he can stay competitive in this matchup versus the Yorick. Eventually, do expect the Yorick to be winning the 1v1. However, Jax at some point will start to have a big team fight impact as well.
It's best to clear out the wave there. Of course, Yorick has rushed the steel caps, and again, you are into a Misfortune, a Jax, a Pantheon. All these things seem like good things to build steel caps into, and thus, they have been built.
Okay, so no real gold leads coming through so far. Let's have a look at our XP. JJ first to level 6. Shun Got some camps, so he'll be able to clear through that as well. Though JJ keeping up in terms of farm very, very well. The Shy, a little bit behind Arla. Pays, I guess, even to Gala. Now mid lane, IG losing out a little bit in the XP battle overall, actually, come to see it. Comes to look at those bars on the side.
Seem to have been that way a bit, doesn't it? Gala doing his best to pick up a fair number of these minions. JJ running away for now. I see some wards there to be taken down. Begins to attack those with the Darkin daggers and go through a couple of them. Should be able to take these relatively freely. At least one or two with the Pantheon pathing away. Looks like they've been given up. And that's a good news story for the Yorick in particular.
The Shy could also teleport up towards that top side of the map if JDG really wanted to contest as well. One of the biggest things I've commented on for IG in this split, well, yeah, both splits actually, is that they've really needed to work on their early game. The early laning, I don't have an issue with. I think last split with the lane swaps is whatever, all over the place.
A bit different. Yeah.
I suppose coming through into this one, we've had a version of lane swaps. That's not bad, actually. Is they going to force the flash? It will. Okay, Pays knowing it wouldn't likely kill, but could get that summoner. It's nice for them with good value. But IG need to see, of course, in this game, they've done a decent job with those early waves and the early kind of states of the game. Is that going to be something that's going to be consistent for them? Can JDG push them that a little more potentially in other games in this series? Because IG typically, I would have expected them to potentially lose a big fight by now, or at least by 15 minutes. It feels like they typically misjudge one big fight in the game in that early game.
Yeah, it does seem to be a regular occurrence, unfortunately. So far, that misjudgment hasn't come. The gold lead not really there. They've gotten a couple extra kills. They're actually going to look to get down to Missing here, who crashes down. Does have the flash, but seismically shoved. Nowhere really for them to run, so Gala is donated a second kill for this game. Tree-shot barrage immediately towards the mid lane to help clear that wave out.
Hey, we talked about this in Champions Slate. Neferi also pretty damn good at picking people out of position because that ultimate is long enough range to respond. Talia, first pick in the draft, valuable. We talked about the response time of that. This is why the meta is the way that it is. Very quick to put people out of position. And Missing, sadly, goes down for another kill in this game. 1 and 3, by the way. I know that the bot lane dive, it's not his fault, but it does look pretty ugly when you're 1 and 3 in 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's not a lot of fun, that one, for sure. Rookie clears that one out well enough. Missing eats some Darkin daggers.
Yeah, Missing, I really hope we don't see what we've seen more of Missing do in recent weeks, where he's just kind of chain into it a little bit when he falls behind the game. You know, Mako's no stranger to that either. In fact, I would say actually Mako's been worse at that than Missing on bad games. But still, Missing a player that, for the last while, we've had him under a microscope. Seeing, okay, can you reach the heights we saw before, or are you going to continue, sadly, giving us something to worry about?
Is a continual concern, has to be said. Mako has had a ward in the river, and we're heading towards the top side. Speaking of supports that have been a little dubious at points, Arla gets caught in the dark procession, forced to jump out of it. That means the Shy can keep walking at him. Don't want to give up the wave for this though, so we'll just send the ghouls to run at that rival laner and leave that as a done deal.
Arla's still even in the matchup though. I mean, we're getting towards the 1 item mark. You've got all of the points in the last right, so Yorick has a ton of sustain. This is the point now where the Jax gets less individual value. JDG need to find a way to start getting more value out of the Jax now. You have that 1 item, that's fine. Are you going to start sending that Grand Starfall towards the Jax's lane? Are you going to start using that to pick off big plays? I feel like the game, weirdly, going a little bit slowly for JDG's liking. I think they would have liked to have something to shut down the Shy a little more, try and force him into a bad position. So let's be honest, when IG lose, typically it's a faster paced game where people keep picking off the Shy or Mako and force them into bad spots. Dark Procession does land, that's a problem.
Scout, not going to be fully engaged onto.
Okay. Not a problem because he had the shuffle. I was like, it's a problem. No, he could just get him under tap. It would have been okay.
So it doesn't overforce on that one. It could have gotten a bit ugly there. Delays the reset a little bit, and that will actually give a bit of free time here for the Shy. Possibly a plate over or so here, especially with the Maiden there. Teleport now coming on through. Does the Shy want to stick around for it? No, he doesn't. So decides to just sack a little bit of that wave, get the wave shoved in, force Scout to go then with no teleport. Should mean a potential man advantage around this dragon as the Shy begins to meander his way over.
So this will be 2 early dragons and 3
yeah.
JDG, I mean, I understand them saying, well, we don't want to give over early fights XYZ. you'd still want to be... missing. Goes in.
Flash away from Rookie, and comes the Grand Starfall, but there's the Unraveled Earth, and that's unfortunately not a great time for Shun, who should not have done that. Now in danger is the rest of the squad in a 3v4. Gonna have a rough time. Call of the Pack comes on through, missing, goes down, and the seismic shot lands onto Arla, who again about to be drunk under the table. Gala picks him up on the other side. Scout and the Shy happening. Scout not enjoying that, forced to flash away as a flash last right.
Another
bops
E.
him on the head, gets to shuffle away with the sliding sands.
7-1 in kills. 2 early dragons, all 3 grubs. IG demolishing JDG for what should be happening at this point in the game. I was saying, look, JDG is the game's happening a little bit slowly. Is there a problem with this? Looking for a fight, I think it happens a little too late, and it happens in the wrong way. One of the reasons that we see, I think, the Talia pick before the Pantheon is plays like this, right? Jump in with the Pantheon, straight into the minefield. It is much easier to deal with the Pantheon than it is for the Pantheon to deal with the Talia. Rookie just completely marks Shun, and Shun goes down very quickly. His last series was not a good one, and this is not a great start to it here either. Especially now you see JJ getting gold out of this. That jungle matchup is going to become a bit more of a problem. IG, everything working well for them now. They're ahead in the side lane matchups. They're ahead as a whole unit.
It's a value for them. Bit of a shuffle there onto Scout, who does not enjoy that damage. Gets to back away.
That's a scary Neferi angle now, isn't it? That being said, by the way, Gala 402. Maybe we should... Actually, you know what? Maybe we should talk more about that. Probably on the other side of it. How did JDG kill the Ezreal, Sam? I am not sure. I'm actually not sure.
It has to be Pantheon Jack's really full sending.
He has Cleanse Flash.
I know.
Like, if you don't get his summoners, it's such a problem. I mean, even if you get a perfect engage onto him, you need to play the game faster so he doesn't have summoners. You need to play cooldown economy. Make sure he doesn't have Cleanse or Flash.
Don't get me wrong, JDG have got good pick between Jax and Pantheon and Azir and Rel. Like, lots of tool, but you are also going into a problem where you are getting somewhat outranged. The Ezreal is a sole threat in and of himself. You've still got to deal with the fact that this Neferi's ahead of curve. You've still got to deal with the fact you've still got this Yorick and Talia. It's not a single threat comp, and you almost have to 2-tier your engage. You have to go in first, blow the cooldowns, and then follow up with someone else. It means blowing a lot to even threaten the Ezreal on a regular basis.
I think JDG are in such huge trouble. I mean, we've said a lot of words to kind of go around the point. This is important. If you can get rid of that cleanse, it's good. They don't quite manage it. That's a shame. If they'd blown the cleanse there, I think this game is now actually much more playable because you can get a big Pantheon ult onto him when he's out of position. Keeps that though. Herald started up. Gala has enough HP. Can start potentially looking for some shots around the corner.
As indeed. At least they got the turret on that bot side. Even things up a little bit as the top turret fell down. Weaver's Wall now coming on in. As Rookie zoning off JDG to allow them to pick up the Herald. So Invictus Gaming with an additional objective on top of everything else. Minute and a half until what would be potentially sole point for them. And you can use Herald to help earn yourself mid-pressure. A bit of a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. A catch, well, 15 minutes in the game. It's not really 22, is it?
So it's a shame we don't have like any of the number players in. It's like, oh, it's a catch 369 or a catch 957 or something like that. That would feel a little bit...
957. There's a player I've not thought about in a long time.
Hayes jumped onto, cleanses, doesn't have it now for that.
True shot barrage, forces a flash. Every summoner down on the Misfortune who's got a bullet time. Not going to burn it here.
How bad does it feel that JDG needs to blow the summoners onto Gala, flick back, goes into the E of the Pantheon. Still takes a hell of a lot of damage from Gala, following up so well. Great Ezreal game from IG's AD carry so far. Herald into mid lane, that'll go down too.
One of the most iconic champions, the Kaisers and Ezreals, always felt like Gala's specialties. Ones where you can use your mobility well. JJ will get engaged on here. Of course, he is still in the Fury, so just presses W and then eviscerates away.
The Shy going to return that bot side turret, which Arla had taken just before. Again, Arla not doing that badly on the Jax, but I don't know how he's going to influence the games that much. Maybe Arla can get a big late game Jax team fight. Maybe, hang on a second, he's actually going to take the Grump away from IG. Going to get a flank angle potentially onto Rookie, but I guess just wants to go back and spend his gold.
There is a world where Scout could TP on this. The problem is there would still be no response, no TP on the Shy. So that could have been an angle, you know. I think the problem is then you're teleporting to the wrong side of the map when Dragon's spawning in 10 seconds.
Rough to do. In a better game, that was the moment that you pounce. They're so far behind right now that they don't even feel like they can pull like a Grand Starfall onto that side. This is a problem, by the way. If Shun's on Vision being stopped to recall, he can't influence the map with his globals, and you know he's not high enough HP to make a big difference here. Missing might have to flash, and indeed does.
Forced to flash. Well, you're down the Solar Flare and the Weaver's Wall for that, though. But it does mean that JDG nowhere near in position to come contest this anymore, with double people forced to back away in pretty aggressive fashion. Dragon is Invictus Gaming's, and JDG, we were expecting a banger. It has been an Invictus Gaming slaughter.
It's been a slaughter, it's been a snooze fest. Like, IG had made some good early plays, played well around objectives. JDG have not touched an objective. They have no grubs, they have no dragons, no Grace, they're maidenless. The Shy has the only one on the map there. And they'll be, I don't know, not reduced to cinders or something, I don't know.
There you go.
I don't know enough Souls-like terminology to continue that on.
I'm so surprised you never really got into Souls.
Yeah,
games.
me neither, Sam. Yeah, me neither, actually. Don't really have a great response to that.
Yeah,
I should
right up your alley. it's wild.
I wish I had
Foolish, tarnished ladies, foolish ambitions.
I have been
aside.
watching a lot of, like, can you beat the game with, like, only great arrows, kind of stuff like that, or, like, only the last boss's weapon you have to use against the next boss, stuff like that.
money. Pod racing build in Elden Ring when?
I did see someone like, wow, this is the best tank build in Elden Ring, and they've just modded it an actual just M1A1 Abrams. Just turns into just like completely explodes the thing in front of it. The Shy is getting jumped on. I say that, I mean, they call through the teleport from Allah just to pick up that wave. They don't really get to achieve that much there. Atacon will be spawning on bot side of the map in the next minute. And this game has been largely uneventful for the last 5 minutes or so, where JDG feel out of options. I mean, what are they doing? I mean, I guess they're waiting for a big enough wombo from the MF in the next big team fight. But you're going to have to do that while all summoners are up from IG. Much harder to land.
That'll be the idea, as Shun, now in danger, the Weaver's Wall comes on down, may be forced to flash, holds on to it for now, missing, however, all the while. Was caught a bit further up the lane and just gets eviscerated. A 5th kill for Gala. Shun at least held on to the flash, but it ain't getting much better for JDG right now, who are feeling more like JGG.
Maybe a little bit. JJ gonna W through the counter-strike as, I mean, it's another tower gonna be down. The 3 grubs helping. Well, no, okay, not the full turret just now, but it's still a lot of damage.
No, the panda maiden don't get attacked like this. Scout misses his shuffle. I need to go back towards a normal accent.
I don't even know what that was. What were you attempting to do?
I
try to find. Look, I know it's a hard world and a hard game to find entertainment.
Pick an accent. What are you casting him?
Oh god, that's a good question. It's gonna be something vaguely legible. We can do pirate voices, Sam.
Well, you find yourself in the mid lane. The seas are dark and stormy. The waves are all going towards the other side. Wave control.
Captain, Atacon, ho! It's spawned on the bot side of the map as the tides be drawing us towards the occasion.
And of course, he's got that wonderful booty in the flowers.
Aren't we all a little guilty of lusting for the booty?
My favourite line from Dracos ever from one of those fun ones.
Fire the broadside at the objective, boys. Ready the topsails.
Misfortune's the only one with the broadside, though. She's got the cannons. Presses the R button, coming on in with the Grand Starfall as Shun looks to bring down the dread pirate rookie, formerly the greatest pirate to have ever sailed the seas of the LPL.
Oh no, the cabin boy's gone down for a 6th death. He be missing again. 1 and 6 on the rel.
Shun the cabin boy pays is going to be brought down. Your money or your life. As Pays goes down, shot through the head. My first mate, Gala.
The Dread Pirate Gala on the Ezreal. It's just wreaking havoc on JDG. They take the Atacon, they take a handful of kills, and JDG, look, they have not given us any entertainment, so we've tried to find our own. And the pirate spiel ends here.
You best believe in ghost stories, Twitch chat. You're watching one. Look at all the dead members on Jing Dong Gaming.
And honestly, with 1 kill, they've given us nothing else to talk about. They had that 1 kill in onto the Shy early on in that early dive, and that's been it. That's been all it. They charge up their Grand Starfall. Shun goes towards Rookie. He's got a Seraph's shield. They've got a locket. They don't even get close to killing him.
You returned to a cast from to a broadcast from the Black Pearl. Absolutely, that's exactly where we are. And I'd apologise, but you know what? This game deserves some entertainment from somewhere, and this is a fun way of doing it.
Rookie ults back and then Paige stuck in the minefield. It's just good business. Ship explodes. Do you feel dead, Dollar? Where's Alawi? We need the Kraken brief.
Consider the cuttlefish, Arla.
You know, Sam, next time we get like a really big play, we just need to scream, release the Kraken. You down
Yes,
with that, Sam?
I'm down for it. Yeah,
Okay,
all right.
So,
What's the signal? What you do?
Sam,
just hand up.
Sam,
really
you just
high.
do release, and then I'll follow
that's
up with
fine,
it.
okay.
The Kraken. Next time we get a big play, the Shy are going to be pushing out that bot side. Dragon started up, would be Infernal Soul. Look, JDG, they've not given us much to talk about. This is their last hurrah already. Only 23 minutes in.
Grand start for coming on forwards. Gala might now be in danger. Arla goes on and release the Kraken, and he escapes. It doesn't work. They've killed it off. The East India Trading Company's forced Davy Jones to kill his pet, namely the dragon. It's stolen away by Shun as he will try and go back on. It's an absolute mess of a fight. Arla just about surviving. JJ though will throw out Dark and Daggers. He's bringing them to a gunfight. Unfortunately, the Black Powder ain't winning this one out. Shun does a bit of healing. It's just not enough to bring the dog down.
You'll remember this is the day you almost claimed Infernal Soul. It's a dragon steal by Shun, and they also end up killing Gala. That is about as good as it gets for JDG, and yet they still end up losing 3 members. IG, they will probably call that a lost play. It is an objective bounty for JDG, a shutdown onto 2 members actually. I believe Mako even had one there as well. So JDG gets something out of that.
It has to be the worst objective setup I've ever seen.
But you have heard of me. We do need someone with cleansing out on a CC, on a CC, so we can actually get the good old Captain Jack. Arla, the hero of this fight, comes completely out of the fog of war unseen. Gala jumps out. The objective steal comes after that point because JJ is focusing on killing down missing instead. And then there's a huge mistake happening around about now. As Gala jumps in, and Arla says, I will kill you. I will kill you to death. Look, Arla's Jax is actually pretty good. Like, he is the one person who has agency in this late game fight, and he does really well.
Problem is, picture-in-picture, there's actual live action happening right now. Look, we've seen all those people die already, and dead men tell no tales. Live, though, significantly more important. Now, the game's edge here might be going over it into the next game.
Wow! Mako, 10,000 career assists as well.
That's a pretty impressive one. That's a lot of gold doubloons towards dearest Mako, who's doing his best to prove that he can still be one of the very best here in the LPL. Gonna take a bit of a step forward to pick up that inhibitor turret, I believe. No Baron or anything taken yet, so that's still on the table. Zala forced to hop out of that. It's a way to safety.
Yeah. He's got to play on that nice edge. Feels like every time he's approaching a play, he's playing a game of Liar's Dice. Great game, by the way. Should actually go play it at some point. Maybe don't bet 10 years of service to the Flying Dutchman in it, though.
Keep an eye on Rookie here as well, because of course he can throw another rock. He might say he's got a jar of dirt to be throwing at the enemies. He's got a jar of dirt.
Oh, man. Well, I don't know. I was going to say. Vision control, it's more like a set of guidelines, really. What do you mean, parlay? Aren't they rules?
Well, there's no gangplank in this game. There's no parlays to be had. Presses Q.
Well, Shun has a hang on a second. Flick
Oh,
over the
no,
wall.
that's a
Oh,
bad one. Oh, dear. Well, that one kind of sucks. Backs away to safety. In comes the Grand Starfall is missing. Goes looking for a Magneton. Doesn't find all that much value. Gala knocked down a little low, but gets to hop on board with the Arcane Shift to look to put out a few more shots. JJ executes the back end, and they're all dragged to Davy Jones' locker. There is no second life now for JDG. Invictus Gaming find themselves everything they could ask for. Filthy rich and looking to end the game.
JDG find themselves at the mercy of the privateers. IG fly the flag, and they'll march towards the base. It's only 27 minutes in. Can they end the game? Pays no bullet time. They might look for another kill, is the thing. Even if they can't end the game, they might get some extra heads and skulls taken.
Looking for one or the other. It was like it would be a bit of a steal if they managed to come back in. We've already had that chat. He's a pirate. He yells somewhere and the music can start. Hans Zimmer ratcheting it up. One final roll of the dice, but Invictus Gaming, it's their swan song. Elizabeth's swan song, and they'll find themselves a Game 1 victory.
JDG are hoping that this ship going upside down will be accompanied with a green flash so they can come back from the afterlife. Because into his ultimate, he's unstoppable. That doesn't matter as much. I like this. I like this a lot, actually. And now suddenly you have Cyclone going forwards. Jin W can combo up very well with that. Annie's a lot of your engage too. Okay, so high damage for JJ. JJ was a very good Wukong back in 2023, by the way. Very, very good at that. So, overall compositions. IG, very long range, very good ability to combo onto that. You know, if Rookie goes forwards for a stun, Jin W comes in. We'll say on the other side, though, you have Nautilus ult, Jarvan, Varus over the top does a hell of a lot of damage. And JDG actually have a tank frontline. IG don't really. So I think IG, higher damage, but quite fragile at points. JDG, not that much consistent damage. So they need their wombo to be crazy. Much like NIP earlier in the day versus BLG in the last game of the day. Last game of their series, rather. You need to make your wombo combo really count. Because if your burst doesn't end the fight, you don't have that much... In the first round robin, they stopped cheering for them for a game or two, actually. There we go, though.
Really now?
欢迎来到英雄联盟。
Not actually sure what happened with the Gyos there, by the way. Because I heard one set of them. I didn't hear the second set.
I wonder why they didn't. They're going to turn the crowd mics on quite fast enough. Had that happen yesterday as well, where the crowd started a little early.
There is that. It's also the other side of it too, where sometimes they turn the crowd mics off to kind of spare the blushes of the teams, because... at least I think that's the case, because sometimes the crowds do a protest no Gyro.
Oh, really?
So JDG did do that after they lost to IG in that crazy 3-game series.
Wow.
They basically benched their coach, and the first game, not for the second and third games of that series, I can't remember if there was a third game, but they didn't cheer for the first game of that series, which... Look, Chinese fans, they do let their displeasure be known. They do. But yeah, sometimes it is the crowd mic not being turned on as well early on into the game. But still, worth just giving you my thoughts on that one, I feel like. So, as I was saying this before we came in, Sam, JDG have an actual tank frontliner on that Cassante. What JDG will need to do is, as soon as 3 minutes is gone, rotate around the map to make sure that the Shy on the Jason and 1v2, the Cassante is better at that situation. Because if you allow the 1v1 to go too long, that's a problem.
Because it does feel like, especially this year, people have kind of found the tech that allows Jace to manage tanks post the first item. You can go Grasp, you can go Black Cleaver first, and eventually you just basically outstat tanks in a way that before, tank-based stats used to kind of manage the Jace a lot better. It just doesn't feel like that's the case anymore. The flexibility in the builds on the Jace has really opened up this champion to be as obnoxious and powerful he has been over the last few months. Good hook though in the bottom lane onto Gala. Turned around on vaguely, but it will give level 2 over to Missing and over to Pays on two of their most comfortable champions in the Nautilus, and of course the Varus for Pays.
Pays went for the E start as well, but you don't always do rank 1, but he managed to handle land onto both of them, so get some value from that. Doesn't have to get the double value, not much harder to do that with the arrow level 1. One of the reasons why Varus is so broken in lane for a long time was when E was so high base damage early that and of course the slow on it, even if it didn't do damage, would be annoying at level 1 because he's slightly longer range than most auto attackers. So that you walk up to auto attack, you have to step, while you're stepping backwards, you're still in his auto range, and then he slows you, so you have to take an extra auto attack as well. So you kind of always get like a 2 auto attack for 1 auto attack trade. So it's like, oh, well, I may as well all in at that point. Well, he beats you in the all in because his base damage is really high early. So Jay's going to put you in this really crap situation, the Varus rather, where you kind of have to fight. Another hook lands, but this time it is onto the Alistair, not the intended target.
And Mako says no, headbutts them away. You can't milk. I'll finish that sentence. Just fill it in. Can't milk centipedes. Don't do that. No. Bad idea.
Damn. I always wanted to do that, you know. That's ruined my day.
I'm sorry about that.
I'm inconsolable and my day is ruined. Oh, Scout's going for the W max. Interesting. Don't always go for that. It's slightly more bursty, more mana intensive.
Very much so.
What it means is that you take less consistent trades, but your trades you do take are harder.
Allows you to try and time yourself around those Annie breakpoints a little easier. Basically save your W for when Annie has no stacks. I'll look to turn around a bit.
Yeah, this is a really important ward. Shun's coming over. Who's getting the flash first? Gets the stun.
Gets the turnaround onto Rookie. Gets that 1-for-1. As both junglers come to die. But of course, JJ has been under the turret, and Shun just autoing with the red buff slow, waiting for those cooldowns, still holding on the flag and drag, gets the knock up. Last order would do it. Where's the Warrior tricks are not there?
Double teleports. Hang on. Rookie still has TP. There's a chance we can still get another fight here. 3 versus 1. Now Rookie, no!
Oh, Rookie can't get in range for the stun. They thought they could turn it around, and now Rookie about to get knocked up and brought down. JDG looking like they might be inverting game one a little.
So, good early presence from Shun. That ward over the wall from Scout to protect himself in mid lane might have just completely flipped the early game in their favor. JJ did go for the early dive. Rookie was looking for a huge play there. And now what we're having is some different lane assignments where the Shy was thinking about collecting as much of this wave as possible, but and sending Rookie towards the bot side, instead saying, okay, no, I'll just take the one. Can't allow Rookie to lose, you know, like a double stacked wave, basically.
Would suck, yeah.
Scout did die in that play, kill one over towards JJ, but Rookie dying twice in a minute is not really what you'd like for him.
No, I agree. Bit frustrating there. Got a kill onto the Orianna, which gives her a mild gold lead. And of course, one onto Shun on this Jarvan, who will be wanting to be really impactful this game. There's a number of immobile carries who'll be wanting to threaten. We have seen Jarvans get to the point in mid-game where if they're not ahead of the curve, they sort of go in and then go, well, what do I do now? And then they cry a bit. And then they get broken apart into many little pieces.
Damn, that's doesn't sound like it's
Just me. That's guys. I'm talking about me.
Oh.
That was the idea.
That was the implication.
Yeah.
That was. Not gonna lie, Sam. I was checking a message on my phone, so I was just like, "Can I blag it that as though I've listened to this?"
No, that's
the answer was actually no. I didn't get any of that subtext at all.
Yeah.
Sam, subtext is for cowards. Everyone, that's not true. I actually really like subtlety in art form and media.
Who's the person we made that joke about? Just subtleties for
I
cowards?
can't remember. It's like the two scales of things. Like, wow, subtlety and innuendo is like, and subtlety is for cowards.
Cowards. Yeah. Subtext is for cowards.
And everyone who uses them is a fool. Is weak.
What's your favourite subtext of this show? I feel like Dragon Ball is quite low on subtext.
It does explain everything. It doesn't allow. Hang on a second. All goes into mid lane. Rookie. I guess afraid of getting traded with Shockwave next time things came around. Hook misses. Not sure about that one from Rookie. Of course, doesn't have anything like the Malignus yet. Does have the tier 2 boots, the Onion boots, to have some extra cooldown. Quite surprised that Rookie hasn't fallen further behind, by the way. Only 200 gold, even in CS, which is completely fine, actually. Using the tibbers. Okay, using the tibbers for wave control here, that's actually fine. Basically just saying, look, I'll use it to clear out the wave. I wasn't using it for a burst trade anyway. I don't want this wave to be frozen on me if at all possible. Scout still managed to do that, though. Rookie doesn't want to be pushed up here without... Oh, well, he does have flash, but he doesn't want to be pushed up like that and susceptible to a gank again. Junk in the bot side. Don't know why Pays is alone here.
Thought he had Shun around or somebody. Doesn't. He ends up going down. He just left the river looking potentially at Rookie. And then, of course, that leaves the Archer alone. Blows Flash, blows Cleanse, and his life as well. Alex, I'm worried. We might be starting to get towards a point where we're going to have to start casting in another weird accent again. Scout does get a decent chunk there onto Rookie. We just get to walk away.
Well, in chat, Sully said, Sam, Alex, what does Pot of Greed do? We could just do our best Yu-Gi-Oh impressions.
Okay, so my Bakura voice was always right. Bakura.
The Shy has no weak abilities in his kit. He's pushing in the top lane and summons Mercury Hammer.
With my Millennium Eye, I can see that he's heading straight to the Shadow Realm.
I don't have anything more for that right now, but I feel like there's potential in there, Sam. I feel like there's potential.
Screw the rules, I have money.
But there is a fantastic Seto Kaiba cosplayer on TikTok who does a wonderful short to him content. There was one which is it's like sweet sad. You know that thing with like the mage opening thing, and it's like sweet sadistic Seto Kaiba. I summon. Honestly, wonderful. 10 out of 10. No, it's great.
It's like, have you seen the Patois cover of that scene? With
Obelisk, Destroyer's Blood Clot.
Oh, the other one is like, Exodia, the Wicked One. It's just so good.
Dude, there is so much Yu-Gi-Oh content out there over years, which it leaves me very, very entertained. The Shy has been pushing in the top side, gets himself some plates. I think that JDG have been trying to, as we said before, swap around the map early to get some value. The problem is now Varus died on the strong side of the map. That's a combo in. Mako has ult.
Not sure about that one. Hugh is missing. Does go on to Mako, gets to press the R button. His trap card was indeed activated. Rookie, though, potentially looking to come and join the play in mid lane. But we all know that the heart of the card speaks true, and that might mean Shun feels like he's spotted the moment, but there goes Rookie jumping on forward. His own trap card activated. And Gala with his fourth shot draws another card.
You know what pot of curtain call does, Alex? I think you're about to find out.
It's not over yet, IVG.
It should have been me.
As Arla, that teleport might actually be the most important thing which happens this fight.
Yes.
Arla was alone on a side lane. He teleports in to try and influence the fight. Could have stayed bot side for plates instead. Is now further behind than he should have been. Uses the teleport and still dies. Arla could have at least got something for himself individually. Doesn't even get that.
There's a lot of work there. Shun gonna get a bit of farming up. Let's have a look at the replay here because it looks like Shun's found a great angle. Gets the knock-up, but it's only onto a clone. And then Shun has to flash away, and Rookie says, no, you don't.
Yeah, Rookie was roaming very proactively a minute before this in the mid lane, even when the Maker went in onto missing. IG had been choosing fights very well in this early game. Arla doesn't get the ult over the wall. If he did, he would have been at least able to pull someone under the mid lane turret. I think that would have gone for one, gotten a kill back at that point. The fact that he gets the wrong ult angle, that's quite depressing there, actually. He should have been able to try one back. Can't quite do so. And now JDG are behind 3 grubs, 1,500 gold. We were saying, hey, they're going to switch around the map, try and get the Cassante out of the Jace matchup and get the Varus wailing on the Jace too. The Jace is ahead. The Varus has died. The first fights are down. You're down 3 grubs. IG, their early games have been very good this series. I do have to stop to wonder, though, how much is them, which some of it is, and how much is it of JDG choosing the wrong fights and playing their macro poorly.
Problematic indeed. I think that's a fairly astute breakdown there. Worth noting, of course, the objectives have largely been traded here so far. Dragon for the grubs. The gold lead, though, is very much there for IG, especially for an early game, which looked pretty good, honestly, for JDG at points. They picked up a couple good early kills. They turned around that mid lane dive, but now Gala's got 2 kills on a Jhin, getting ahead of the curve. We've already talked about the fact that this Wukong is getting very strong. The Shy's gotten to lane out just fine. He's 20 CS up, and there's part of the reason why we've not seen so much Cassante. It's harder to escape those rough lane matchups, and Cassante has been repeatedly hit with the nerf bat until he should be left a bleeding mess on the floor, and yet still he's here.
It's like Cassante, somehow every time they just always have another monster reborn card for him.
Exactly.
He just keeps coming back in more zombified forms. And then, for a while it was, okay, he's just a good champion. Then it was, well, okay, he can still be a good frontliner even if he's not winning lanes. And it's like, well, okay, at least we can use him in lane swaps. Well, we've killed lane swaps. Well, we can at least swap after 3 minutes now or something like that.
What I can say, though, is if you look down towards the bottom side of the map, it's time for
Dragon.
Yeah.
I can't remember enough stuff from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, which was a good show, actually. You know what, GX, for all that I prefer the original series, the Battle City arc I think is wonderful, GX was actually pretty good.
Yeah, but the thing with the Battle City arc is it actually made sure there was rules rather than I'm going to attack
the moon!
Which is just like, that can't be legal.
I mean, it was meant to be much more D&D like at that point.
Oh, yeah,
whereas,
it was.
Like, I loved hang on a second, JD's jumping on Scout. Not able to get that much from it, though, actually. Good damage back from Scout. Of course, both these two, very, very long-time teammates on the EDG roster. They were very fun to watch together.
Oh, they're looking to jump onto you. It's a Rookie boy here. Welcome to this comical little farce. It's Toontown down here. As my wannabe Pegasus XP looking for a Q3 goes all out just this once. And Shun has donated the kill.
Hang on a second, that's going to be a kill on the other side of the map. It's a great combination. IG casting Polymorph on top side to make sure they can get a fusion monster on the top side and take 2 kills of their own. JDG losing out on the cross map. Yes, Rookie dies, but they're losing not just this up here. They're probably losing the tower afterwards.
They've got 3 monsters here. It's looking like an ultimate dragon or something like that. They'll make sure it all goes down. Successful dive, and they get some vengeance for the death of their mid laner.
So that's going to be first turret and top side. They were very likely to get themselves the feats of strength anyway, but they claim themselves early. Now it's 7 kills to 3. IG, for all that I've criticized them on macro and early game, have played very well in that part of the game today. I do think, yes, JDG, look, folks, you know you're on the weak side of the map. It's a decent combo there. Don't go back towards that turret. Even with missing coming up, I think this is a big mistake. You don't get enough damage done. Alistar has ultimate. You can't realistically expect to turn this around now. Now you've used the shockwave. That being said, actually, oh no. Oh, Pays was so close.
And he changed the corruption to clone, by the way, as well.
It was dodged out from. I think that's very harsh. It was really, really close. The W was a great dodge from JJ. Skips out on that arrow as well. JJ breaks poor Pays' ankles.
That's rough.
That's ridiculous, actually. That's so harsh.
Thought he had lethal, instead there was a trap card. It was a man-eater monkey all along? Don't. It's not really a bug. That's
that's what happens when you pause the game for something which has changed the game. That's the man-eater bug, yeah. The man-eater spaghetti code. W lands. That's a problem actually for missing.
There's headbutt pulverized after missing. Just about able to flash on out of that.
I feel so bad for Pigs. I feel so bad. You would have thought that felt like a frustration play at that point, and now the Varus 1,000 gold behind. It's rough. It's rough out there, folks. JDG. I don't know what they do. JDG, there were brief moments at the start of the split where we thought, look, this team went on a 3-0 win streak. Maybe they're the best team in the LPL. Maybe they're the top team. That fell apart very quickly. 3 loss streak. Scout could flash over. Wants to kill his older. Oh my god. All right.
They ain't done quite yet. JDG will go all out and the Shy will go down. And as we've seen, it's never a done deal here in the LPL. There are no weak teams in my LPL. Kawebo out there still looking scary even after all this time. Not here in this game, you know.
Kawebo, what do? Just sacrifice themselves to get like one random win. Isn't that Kawebo thing? You stop all damage for one turn.
Yeah.
They just cause emotional damage towards all of their fans.
Exactly.
Scout defeats one of his, of course, old rivals here in the LPL. LPL. Scout's been playing since before the Shy even debuted. It's really cool getting to see Scout match up against all of these older players against, once again. Gets a decent kill there for Arla, who has actually done quite well on the Cassandra given how far behind he was. Scout's going to take a side lane outer turret. Get himself some big gold ahead. He's the 1 gold lead for JDG right now.
That's the one. Scout picks up the tier 1. Good for him. Down about 2,000 gold still. It does feel like IG in a really good position this game. There's Wukong, Giga strong, the Jay's still strong, because Rookie's been attacked a fair amount, the Shy's been attacked a little bit as well, so it's not like JDG have found nothing this game. My issue still is that this Jace hasn't felt the need to go towards a Black Cleaver, has been able to go towards the Ghostblade build, which of course is a Shy preference. He does love those lethality builds, and with the exception, honestly, of that Cassante, everyone else will not enjoy those shock blasts. Gonna manage the game state from there. Garlic has to turn up mid lane, 20 seconds on Hextech Dragon. It's a blue eyes white dragon. What do you know?
No, Sam, that's like the Cyber M Dragon, man. If anything, like if it's Hextech, that's tech. I mean, it's close enough too.
Zane? Was that the guy's name? Yeah.
Look, tell you what, he actually has a pretty cool deck with all of the fusion monster stuff like that. It's pretty cool. Well,
I really enjoyed Red Eye's Darkness.
That being said, though, JDG on the whole, they're looking for maybe not an elemental hero, but a hero in a team fight. Rookie's going forwards. Pace has no flash.
Hero, but eat a bear instead. That's not a hero. Just hug your teddy bear a little tighter. Unfortunately for them, IG's Gift of One is a little bit more deadly than you think. 5 nights at IG's Freddy's. Rookie turns out with the proprietor all along.
Oh my god, it's Freddy 5 bears in the mid lane. Rookie gets himself a great play there, knowing that Pace just about didn't have his flash. Arla's taking a topside turret, but, you know, it's a kill and 2 kills in the mid lane. 2 turrets. Arla will get himself another turret in top lane, potentially. Actually, not sure, because his Demolish likely on cooldown still, so he's not going to get the full in a turret. And Dragon's going to be taken by IG as well. Massive clean sweep through that mid lane. IG, decisive engages, clean macro play, good decision making. This is a good series from them.
So wait. Is Elder Dragon now Slifer the Sky Dragon, just as a side note on this? just a question.
I mean, it's normally the red ones. Wouldn't Infernal be Slifer on the whole? Yeah. Anyway, Pace just has his flash off of cooldown. Came back up a couple of seconds after this play ended. Great follow-up. All 5 members on the same part of the screen. Back into live. Scout, good shockwave, but you're dead.
Yeah, he's about to go down. Eats another shot. Rookie will electrocute the death of that one. Deadly flourish lands. JJ gets to bonk the Nautilus over the head, crushing him down. And that's another set of kills. Look. IG, again, the mid-game's rolled around, and it just feels like they are the ones making the proactive plays where JDG slow or unable to respond.
We've talked a lot about card games. JDG, they're playing Snap. IG are playing Magic the Gathering. They are so much further ahead in terms of the strategy in this series. And JDG, it feels like they've gotten some of the simple things right in terms of some of their teamfight execution at points. I suppose Arla's Jax in the last game was a highlight, but this has been a massive outclassing by IG. A team which has been so inconsistent in their own right. Obviously, it's a Tuesday. I'm not even sure if Caedrel's streaming. He often doesn't on a Tuesday. Maybe that's the secret to it.
Is Caedrel streaming?
You know, I'm gonna go check right now.
Yeah, this is the flow chart.
He is. Okay. Oh my god, he actually is.
Does that mean they're doomed to lose at this point? Can they undo the great curse that is Caedrel streaming an Invictus gaming game?
Well, it's going really, really well for them. It's going to be a wrap around the turret. Scout You shouldn't be here. You should really not be here. No flash. Make a punt into the wall. That is a dead mid laner.
Put the mid lane into the wall.
And it's made of all the towers that IG will take. And they'll try and find some more value. The shot class does go wide. Gala might be in danger as it just never ends as points himself inside the cataclysm. Yeah.
It's the duality of JDG versus IG.
Still going to make it though. He's got to flash out and stay alive.
And during all of that, Scout managed to slip the noose. Not quite slipping the knob, but slips the noose. As I thought he was 100% dead, manages to escape with using that shockwave. And before I forget, let me praise IG once again. Still a good play. Take away that turret.
Well, unfortunately for them, JDG are snuffed out. They don't get to play the game too much more. And unfortunately for them, their players
Look, if
equal.
we're talking,
Not great this game.
There is a. Oh my god. There are people who. Okay, all right. We're a long way from iOS, a long way from iOS. At some point, if we keep talking about Slipknot, we will have to decide who the clown is. Typically that would be the Shy Maker, but actually they're playing really well today.
All I'm saying, guys, just to follow us all on the Cycle social medias.
Jesus.
Find us on Twitter, on Instagram, on various things. I'm Initialise Cassie's at Nymaera. In fact, if you want, you can just throw a Prime sub or a Twitch sub at us while you're doing it. That's a great way of doing it. You get even more random puns in your life.
Snuff of that. 2 minutes till Dragon. IG 2 up. 5k going, well, 6k rather. Mako, great series of games from him. Player who's been very inconsistent on the other side. What was Missing's final score on the last one? 1 and 6, 1 and 7, maybe?
It wasn't pretty.
It's very nasty, and now he's at 0-4. He's going to have over 10 deaths in 2 games, which is, yeah.
Like, I know we've been having some fun with this series, but I do think it's worth noting that actually we've started to see a lot of the supports that are supposed to be top tier, that are supposed to be on our best teams, have been volatile to say the least. We've chatted about Mako in that 0-12 Blitzcrank game that was genuinely very poor, but Missing, but On, have also been in that space where they've kind of been really up and down, and when they've been off, it's been very poor. JJ will nimbly strike forwards and then back away with the Warrior Trickster.
Missing even there was in a difficult position. This time it's not your fault. You have lost vision control. You have a little bit on that top side, but they're trying to face check into the river. IG, hang on, maybe this is a point where they can throw. Getting shredded at Atakan is pretty nasty. Arla's going to be spot on the flank. Rookie needs one more Molten Shield to charge up his stun.
You've got a card face down in defense position. They'll activate the trap card. Ready for the bait. Arla goes looking for the assault. Can't quite find it. The curtain's now being called. And unfortunately, JDG, I think you're going to be taking a bow very shortly. Won't be done on Sage. Unfortunately, it'll be IJ who look like they'll be taking the winner's bow. Other one goes on down. And this Millennium puzzle, they just don't have the answer to.
And JDG, they had a bit of vision from their Millennium eyes across the rift onto the actual Atakan itself, but not into the brush. Rookie played that really well. Teams have learned how to play the Atakan a lot better now. You can station someone in that top lane brush and, punish what is normally the fallback option to approach that Atakan. You go through the lane itself. Rookie's there, and the front line of Arla eats every CC under the sun. JDG not ready to respond in time. Not going to be able to take the mid lane turret either, so they don't get even a consolation prize. Dragon is up now, and JDG will be heading towards it. There is a good chance that JDG can find themselves onto this. Rookie can walk over. That being said, does have the cooldown boots and the Malignance. The Annie Tibbers is actually going to be up fairly quickly. Watch how quick that goes down.
That's going to be 20 seconds.
Yeah, there was a play where in LEC recently where Annie started a play with Tibbers, lasted a minute, and then cast it again to end the fight as well.
It's already half off cooldown. This will be up for any dragon fight. That is an obscenely low cooldown. We get a look at Rookie at some point, 765. Yeah, that was about 30, 40 seconds max.
Yep. Once you get to this point in the game, I think also the Tibbers duration is not counted into it.
Of course, yes, it's RE same deal. Yeah.
Same kind of thing. It's from the initial cast, not from when it dies. So it's often up by the time that the Tibbers is gone down. Rookie, of course, has 7 Dark Seal stacks as well. I would say, look, Scout's not actually had a bad game. I'm not blaming Scout for this. Out of everyone on JDG, I think he's the one who's least to blame from this game. Trying to remember what happened in game 1.
The Azir was a bit useless.
Yeah, I mean, I like Scout's Azir, but struggled to play it into the Talir. Didn't really get that much value done. This time, it's not really his fault.
Bot lane's had a shocker, is the honest answer.
Mako, does he have to push that? He has heal, uses it now. Gotta use that to outpace the Varasult.
quite sent to the Shadow Realm there, despite the attempt on his life that lent him most grievously harm. Missing on the other side as Mako goes forward with the headbutt pulverize. He ain't done yet. Locket shield procced on the other side. Shockwave denies it. Mako's gone very deep, but they turn around as JJ re-engages into Cyclone in the backside. And unfortunately, there were no storm warnings. It comes out of nowhere. Scout, his name a bit of a lie this time around because he is very much one of the last remaining members. He's a mainline fighter. Shun gets a smite kill to help get Scout lined up, but he's hit with a deadly flourish, rooted in place. Do not pass go. Do not pick up 350 gold. I've got to find a new reference because we ain't playing Monopoly, but IG sure have one in this game.
IG completely blow JDG out of the skies, crashing and burning. JDG have been outclassed by IG. The first time they met, it was a close affair. They should have won. It was one of the most intense series I've ever seen, with a double Baron steal into Nexus to Nexus, which IG somehow pulled out. This couldn't be further from that. This has been one-sided in micro, in macro, in drafts, I think as well. IG have clearly been the better team, and JDG, the alarm signs have been ringing for a while. They're just getting louder now. Baron will go over. It's not the end of the game on this push, but it sure feels like it's the death blow.
I hate to say it, but it's a third-rate team with a fourth-rate team comp or something like that. You find the reference. It feels a little harsh, and that's probably unfair. But at the same time, JDG, again, what is happening? Neither of these games, outside of the first 5 minutes, have we seen a successful, proactive play. That ain't it. Not against a team that you're tied with wins with. You've got to be better than this. Otherwise, JJ will still be an utter menace. Mako sells it well, doesn't he? Goes in, they think he's gone too deep, and off on the side, off vision, is a flash, Nimbus strike, and a cyclone to make sure that people eat the full force of the wind.
Orianna gets like one chance to make a retreating play with the shockwave. If you're forced to retreat further than that, this is what happens, especially with a long-range follow-up. And, you know, the ability for Gala to just keep putting those W's into position has been so brutal. One of the key things we talked about with IG is that if people start fighting, IG tag onto those plays very quickly because they do have, you know, good mobility from Wukong, the W's from Jin, Mako able to just kind of run forwards into the play with the ultimate too. Long range from everyone involved, mainly in terms of the ability to walk forwards into a play. Baron now going to control the bot side of the map. Tower is not long for this world. Oh, teleport. Okay, well then we'll try and defend it.
Angle behind, in they go, looking for something.
One-man shockwave.
There's just not enough. Pays will die on the other side as Rookie trades his life for it and the turret. And unfortunately, Arlet is left in a 1v4. Here come the curtains again. It's only Act 2 of this series. And JDG are going to have no right to bring us to an Act 3.
Rookie will die, flashing forwards to go kill the Varus. And that's all he needed to do. IG, with the Baron buff, they only have Scout to worry about, but he doesn't have the wave clip. He doesn't have cooldowns.
It's been a bit of a bot gap for various reasons. Combined JDG are 1, 12, and 3 in the bot lane. It is a brutalization. Gala by name, Festival by Nietzsche. IG were having a party this series.
Invictus Gaming, last time they visited Beijing, had a tense 3-game series, which took 2 Barons and a Nexus to finish. This was an absolute victory lap. There was no question IG were the better team here today, and throws a lot of questions now towards the top of the table. JDG have a lot of series in hand. They've played 3 less games than IG and BLG, or about that, but they're still currently in the top 4.